Hey, what is up, everybody? It's your boy Billy Effects, and today was another big day for virtual reality. So let's watch and deconstruct the Meta Connect 2022 keynote, which outlines a bunch of the advances Facebook has been making since showcasing their vision for the Metaverse last year. Tons of juicy updates across apps, platform, and of course, hardware. Zuck reveals the much-awaited Quest Pro headset, which certainly blends the physical digital worlds and serves as a stepping stone to fully immersive augmented reality experiences. So grab your beverage of choice and let's get right into it. It's the first time I'm watching the stream, so this will be a live reaction with some of my thoughts as we go over the major announcements.
I'm excited about what comes next. It's a future that is beyond any one company, that will be made by all of us.
I believe when it's all meant to be. Lord knows we got some tricks up our sleeve. Magic, break me off. So come alive and step out.
Don Allen, what up?
Special soul. Now shine on, cause we're made from the stars. Are you ready?
I'm hyped. Are you hyped? Are you hyped? Because I'm hyped. I'm definitely hyped. Not a big fan of this aesthetic, but I still, I can dig it. Gotta have the brands and the digital goods. Posty. VR, sports, and athletics. Haley Kiyoko got a little, obviously got to do live streams, right, in VR.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Connect. Last year, we shared our vision for the Metaverse, a future where you can be present together with the people you care about, where you can teleport into any experience from anywhere, where your devices just get out of the way and you can focus on the people you're with and the experiences you're having.
So
I think that
this is the promise of the Metaverse, right? Like basically you can cut across space and time and connect experiences across the physical and digital where time and space is no longer a barrier.
This is some of the most amazing technology of our generation. It's going to open up opportunities to build incredible things. We believe in this vision so deeply that we renamed our whole company after it. And we're in a moment now when a lot of the technologies that will power the Metaverse are starting to take off. There are more people in VR than ever before, more creators building worlds, more developers building apps, more brands getting into virtual goods, and more companies getting into the Metaverse. This is great to see. It's a sign that the future isn't so far away.
And this is so important, right? Like basically Zuck and Meta have been bootstrapping the entire virtual reality ecosystem. Everyone's VR investments essentially petered out. And Meta's just been carrying the thing, just with the Oculus Quest, right? Like the most ubiquitous VR headset in the world today is the Oculus Quest, and you can get one for like $300.
I know a lot of you are excited about this future. You're already living it, building new worlds, hanging out in VR, exploring what's possible. And we've been with you since the start. Look at what we've announced at Connect over the years. The first modern VR device.
CV1.
The first standalone headset. No wires, no
Quest.
External sensors. The first developers to make millions of dollars in revenue.
Indeed.
The first hands in virtual reality. And today, we're going to take another big step forward. So this one is for you, the believers. The people who always thought that this was where technology should go, but who know that the future doesn't just happen. You have to build it with your bare hands. The people who'd rather be early than fashionably late. Well, we've got something to share with you today, and I think you're going to be really excited. But before we get to that, let's take a look at the progress that we're seeing across the ecosystem. To do that, here's Boz, Meta's CTO and the head of Reality Labs.
Boz!
Hey,
Bosworth.
Pretend you didn't see that.
Yeah, we'll get to that a little later. But first, let's talk about some of the
Maybe that's a funny little, hat tip at the hilariously awful leak that happened. Apparently, there were 2 of these Quest Pro headsets that were discovered in a hotel, no less. But, everything gets leaked these days, all the new iPhones or whatever.
That we're seeing across the ecosystem. Quest 2 is the first virtual reality device to go mainstream, and it's opened up a lot of opportunities for people to build.
Yeah, the ecosystem is growing nicely. About 1 in 3 apps in the Quest Store are making revenues in the millions. 33 titles have made more than 10 million in gross revenue, and that's up from 22 just this February. And the number of apps making over $5 million has doubled since last year.
Now, this is super key because by virtue of Meta essentially bootstrapping the VR ecosystem and initially taking this closed off posture where everything had to funnel through, the Quest Store or the Oculus Store or the Meta, whatever it's called now. They eventually loosened that stand, right? Like now you can use the Oculus Link and connect open VR stuff, Steam VR. And so you're seeing a lot of interesting experiences, for example, VR chat that's taking place sort of outside of the walled garden, if you will, but it's still helping VR as a whole. So I'm really happy to see Meta take that sort of pseudo open stance.
Like when a whole new platform takes off.
Yeah, and it shows that there's real demand for high-quality VR experiences.
Yeah, those experiences are going to keep getting better with all the new things that we're announcing today. I mean, developers have been pushing the boundaries on Quest 2, using tools like hand tracking and presence platform.
Yeah, and the creativity that you're all bringing to this is pretty awesome. As the platform grows, we're focused on making it even easier to develop for. And philosophically, we're focused on making the ecosystem more open.
Part of this means giving developers different options for reaching their audiences beyond the Quest Store. So people can stream apps over link from PC or sideload them. Some of the best apps on Quest 2 today started in our App Lab, our open distribution channel. Great titles like Smash Drums, Ancient Dungeon, Puzzling Places, and more.
Yeah, and we expect that the opportunity...
That's exactly what I was talking about, but that's not all. I think a lot of the magic is still happening on Steam VR, right? So I've got myself a fancy Vive Pro 2 headset, super convoluted setup, right? Most people aren't going to do that. But if you got a Quest 2, you plug it in, or you got a good Wi-Fi connection, just stream it over from your PC. That's really democratizing access to VR. And that's a good thing for virtual reality developers as a whole. Whether you go through the Oculus store for distribution, or whether you go through something a little bit more standard and ubiquitous in the VR space like Steam.
Opportunities here are just going to keep growing as more devices come on the market and more people get into VR. And we're going to keep pushing to make the next computing platform more open. Now, in terms of what people are actually building, beyond games, a lot of the most interesting work that we're seeing is around social experiences.
Oh, Zuck and social.
This has been a big change. I mean, at first glance, many people assume that virtual reality is a fundamentally single-player experience, something that you do on your own, kind of away from the rest of the world. But we've never looked at it that way.
Closed off.
From the very beginning, a decade ago when we first started on this journey, we believed it would be a great social platform. That's why we got into it.
Yeah, I mean, back when we started working on this, we believed that over time, social experiences would become the main way that people would use VR. And that's coming true. Today, the top apps in the Quest Store are social metaverse apps. And this is pretty much the same thing that we've seen with every other computing
VR
platform.
chat.
A lot of the most compelling use cases for new technology come when you build things that help people connect. And that's the whole reason why we're in this space.
Yeah, this has been the story of every computing platform we've seen so far. Whether that's email on desktop, instant messaging on laptops, or video calls on the phone. Every technology platform has brought great value to my life. But what I value most is the ways they keep me more connected with the people I care the most about.
And I think this will be especially true for VR and eventually AR because they deliver a deep feeling of presence, right? It's that sensation that you're actually with another person or in another place. And that's what's so powerful about this platform compared to everything else that's come before. Every other computing platform is built around apps. And now we have the chance to change that. For the first time, we can build technology centered around people and how we actually experience the world.
Yeah, but it's not just about apps, right? Like I think the point that Zuck is trying to make here is that every single computing platform thus far has been an iteration and evolution of Xerox PARC. Essentially, it's been rectangles on a screen, right? And like you had your 2DOF mouse controller, eventually that turned into a laptop, then perhaps into your cell phone, but it's still essentially a grid of rectangles that this like flat piece of glass that you manipulate with your hands. It's all two-dimensional, right? Like all the parallax stuff is basically a gimmick, but VR and AR is very different in the sense that it's inherently spatial. It's far more like how we interact with the real world, right? Like when you see a door and you see a doorknob, the affordance is obvious. You know exactly how to open it. Whereas there's a learning curve when you have to learn these convoluted interaction paradigms in the two-dimensional world. And there is no vertical within applications that this applies to more than social. Like just think about when you're sitting in a room, like all the spatial cues of like even me just like naturally gesturing with my hands right now, that like is totally lost. Subtle eye contact cues, spatialized audio. These are all things that Zuck and the Meta team are investing in.
That's because the metaverse is first person, right? You feel like you're in it, right? You should be able
Well
to
said.
teleport anywhere with the people you want to engage with and bring all your stuff with you. It should be less siloed than a traditional app model and fundamentally more.
Bring all your stuff with you. This is perhaps the hat tip to like something like, you know, just digital goods that aren't relegated to specific walled garden experiences, right? So if you buy that t-shirt in Roblox, you can't take it with you anywhere else. It's the same thing inside of like Unreal Engine experiences like Fortnite. And so Zuck is envisioning this world where you can have these shared collaborative experiences, but just like you wear your outfit and you go to any physical place in the world, you can do the same thing. You may change how you look and the objects that you take with you, but inherently you are taking your existing stuff versus buying new stuff in every single place.
Or about feeling present with other people.
We gotta have Vishal here to talk more about that.
All right, hey Vishal, why don't you guys take it from here?
All right, sounds good.
Vishal,
Thanks.
See you, Mark.
Yeah.
I think he's the head of
Vishal.
Metaverse.
Hey, boss. Yeah, this social shift has been one of the biggest
Or
changes we've
Horizons.
seen over the last couple of years. When Quest 2 first launched, the vast majority of time spent in VR was spent alone. Today, the majority of time spent is in multiplayer apps.
And the most popular apps on Quest are social. And that's a huge deal. Apps like VR Chat have established these
Hey, yo.
new places for people to spend time together in virtual reality, and they're thriving.
That's right. And
Now, VR Chat is actually a really, really good example because it has all these attributes of the metaverse, right? Like maybe not the laundry list of Matthew Ball attributes of like, you know, infinite cap to co-presence and all this type of stuff. But despite the current constraints of the technology, it's largely UGC worlds. Like these are like creators that are using a plugin and SDK for Unity to create worlds themselves, and then people are spending time in them. And so many people are customizing their avatars. It's like creating this whole like booming industry where you can, you know, commission artists to make a skin for you, everything from like a kit bashed avatar for 30, 40 bucks to people spending hundreds of dollars to fully customize their presence. And like I said, in VR Chat, you can take that one avatar and take it with you to all these other worlds, some gaming worlds, some chill worlds. Like there are people sleeping in VR, like all these cozy spaces. People talk about the second and third space. Like you are seeing manifestations of that in VR Chat today. And I guarantee you a vast majority of VR users probably actually like Oculus Quest connected to a PC or Oculus Quest period.
And people are doing all sorts of things together. They're playing games, they're hanging out, they're learning new hobbies, they're showing up as avatars who represent who they are and maybe who they want to be. And there's so many new things you can do once you get beyond the limitations of the physical space that we live in. This social shift is happening everywhere.
YouTube VR is a great example. It's one of the most popular apps on the Meta Quest 2, and the YouTube team is working to make the experience even more social. So in the future, when you're together with friends in Horizon Home, you'll be able to watch and share YouTube videos just like you might do together in the physical world. Watch videos together, share content from your favorite creators, or experience something completely new, like a underwater manta ray adventure off a private island in Southeast Asia. And when you look
That is an exceedingly specific reference, but I'll let it
at
pass.
where the internet is going, there's this big move towards creation and shared experiences. And we're seeing the same impulse to build and explore together in VR.
Absolutely. Some of the best experiences in Horizon Worlds right now are hanging out with your friends in Nope's Haywood Ranch or recording a podcast on Rooftop 42. There are worlds to celebrate the Lunar New Year, to make music together, worlds to roast marshmallows in, or just to get a party started. We're seeing all sorts of people build worlds like
party
these,
started.
from first-time creators to world-class entertainers. And today, we're announcing a multi-year collaboration to bring NBC Universal's iconic content to life through experiences in the metaverse. Starting next year, Meta and NBCU will co-create
Didn't see that
experiences
coming.
around The Office, Universal Monsters, DreamWorks, Blumhouse, Halloween Horror Nights, and so much more.
Okay, so I am guessing that Zuck and the Meta team think that if they have this sort of iconic IP and they're spawning content and experiences in Horizon Worlds based on this IP, it's going to attract eyeballs. Let's see if that actually happens, because, you know, it's funny, like, from a technological standpoint, what Horizon Worlds has done is phenomenal. Like, it is a buttery smooth experience. All the interactions just feel really right. But at the same time, it's like sort of sterile, for the lack of a better word. It's sort of devoid of the chaos and thus the magic that you see in experiences like VR chat. Now, obviously, it's very hard for a company like Meta, given all the scrutiny that they've gone under, to like take that sort of risk in the immersive space. But I gotta say, like, in terms of every time I've hopped into Meta Horizon Worlds,
fans will be able to engage in these experiences in Horizon Worlds, at Universal Studios theme parks, and customize their avatars. Last but not least, the Peacock app is coming to Quest.
The only thing on Peacock that I really want to see is basically Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart reacting to the Olympics.
There are so many worlds out there to see, more than we could ever show at an event like this. But what's more important is what's in those worlds, and the feeling you get when you're with other people. That's why we're so excited about building out Horizon Worlds as a next-generation social platform, where the connection happens in real time.
It always comes back to wanting to feel connected. And if we really want the metaverse to feel social, we need to open these worlds and experiences to everyone. They can't be limited to VR.
Yeah, the metaverse should be accessible across all kinds of screens and devices. And you should be able
Yes, 110%. Could not agree more with Vishal and Boz over here. I remember in the early days of VR, there were all these debates about, like, is 360 video actually VR? No, it needs to be 6DoF, motion tracked experiences. Honestly, doesn't matter. These are all digital immersive experiences and need to degrade gracefully to any platform of your choice. So I should be able to just drop a link and have my friends join in from their iPhones. And sure, I can be in a VR headset, but they should be able to participate and contribute meaningfully. So it seems like Meta's headed in that direction, which makes sense because it just like expands the audience base a bunch more, which means that it makes it more interesting to creators and then eventually brands for monetization.
able to jump in and join your friends from anywhere.
That's why we're developing Horizon Worlds on the web, so that you can access it from a computer or any mobile device. If you're watching a comedy show, for
Okay, on the web, that's interesting. I've heard that their stack is based on Unity. I mean, this is based on Reddit threads, so I don't know if it's actually true. So it'd be interesting to see what their web stack actually looks like.
You can
Wonder if it's going to be pixel streamed.
send the link to your friends, and they can join without a headset, no matter where they are. It's just more fun when the gang's all together.
True.
Making these virtual worlds accessible through any device takes their ability to connect people to another level.
This is going to be the first way a lot of people around the world experience a virtual world.
For sure. And while the web doesn't give the full VR experience, it opens it to an entirely new population of developers, creators, and people.
Absolutely.
100%
We want
agree.
everyone to be able to have the most immersive experience. But it's going to be a while before there are enough headsets out there. So this will be a huge step for helping people experience it for themselves.
And this is the company that is single-handedly seeding the market with headsets.
Especially when we think about creators. For people and businesses building virtual worlds, this means your potential audience will become so much bigger.
Yes.
Right now, there's a growing metaverse economy that only VR users can access. That's about to change.
And when you see something amazing in a virtual world, you'll also be able to capture and share it, just like you would if you were in the physical world.
Yeah, this is actually a place where Meta's apps are going to play a huge role. We have these deep ecosystems for creators to connect with audiences and share their work. And virtual worlds will become just another place where great content can be made. We're now testing a way for you to take.
Okay, this is really interesting. I think what's happening here is Meta is probably seeing the amount of VR chat content that is getting shared on TikTok, which is, by the way, an absurd amount. People are essentially making memes, comedy skits, and doing all sorts of stuff inside of VR chat, almost kind of using VR chat for like virtual production, as it's called in the professional content creation space. Because, you know, like, why not, right? Like, instead of having a camera and a vlog and run around, like, doing awkward stuff in the real world, you could jump between a bazillion different worlds and find these, like, moments of serendipity and perhaps even chaos that does really well in this short form vertical content.
Take a video in Horizon Worlds and easily share it straight to Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's go look up, like, VR chat on TikTok. You will see content with millions of views on there. And yeah, VR chat's done a great job of doing something similar, where initially there was a bunch of these like plugins that let you bring in sort of a camera that you could adjust the focal length, you know, the depth of field and all the sort of parameters that you're perhaps used to with a traditional camera system, and then bring that into VR chat via this like add-on extension. And now it's natively in VR chat. Now it looks like Horizon Worlds is going to get it too. So this starts creating this like virtuous flywheel of content, right? Like you have these moments of delight, of you know, humor or whatever. You share that out. People see, oh, what is that experience? And then you want to go check it out.
As a reel. This will be one of the very early connections between Meta's apps and Horizon Worlds, and there'll be a lot more to come. We're also connecting some of the best creators on Instagram with some great builders in Horizon Worlds to see what kinds of things they can make together. So keep your eyes on the feed for that.
So the ways people can experience these virtual spaces are evolving fast, but the tools you need to actually build them also matter. And so we've got some great news for creators here too.
This is another big expansion in what's possible. It used to be that you had to build everything in headset. And now we're seeing some incredible worlds being built by everyday users outside of VR in Crata.
Okay, this is interesting because it seems like for Horizon Worlds, Meta made a product decision where all the content that can be created is within the creation mode inside of the headset. I'm sure they're thinking like, who's going to learn Blender, Unity, you know, Substance Painter, all these tools in a traditional 3D content creation workflow that you kind of need to duct tape together to make some interesting stuff. And they probably thought that if you lower the barrier to creation with these sort of more simpler primitives, for example, Rec Room, right? Like everything can be done with like the magic gun that they've got, or the maker gun, sorry. And, you know, maybe that was a bad call because, to be honest, like creators that will make differentiated experiences want to learn Blender. They want to learn Maya. They want to learn Substance Painter because those are the skills that get them paid in the real world. And honestly, the workflows within headset are just not mature enough to do a bunch of these, you know, kind of really complex creations.
A game and world building platform available on Facebook.
We're expanding the creative toolkit beyond VR too. You'll be able to use TypeScript, a powerful scripting language, to make more dynamic and interactive worlds. And we're making it so you'll be able to import tri-mesh items into Horizon Worlds and build parts of your world using 3D content creation tools like Maya, Blender, and Adobe Substance 3D.
That is
These
key.
are high-quality tools that professionals use to build in 3D.
Like, you can't make worlds like this inside of a VR experience. I think maybe the closest thing might be you're in Unreal Engine and you've got some VR mod on and you're like taking a bunch of their photogrammetry assets and kit bashing them together.
And one of the main benefits of supporting them is the graphics quality they produce. Now, it will take a while to integrate all of these tools, but the result will be things looking a whole lot better.
This also means brands will be more interested because they can work with their traditional workflows and agencies that are very well versed in these exact type of tools.
This is one of the most important pieces. We started with simple graphics, and we're doing a ton of work to meaningfully improve how Horizon will look and feel over the next year. The Metaverse needs to feel inspiring.
It's a
There's some
gradual
really
evolution.
awesome stuff coming here. We're working with Epic Games to bring Creative Commons licensed content from the Sketchfab library to Horizon Worlds.
Cool.
Our ultimate goal is for the Metaverse to feel just like any other social experience, big or small. So the virtual spaces you build and share don't always need to be huge worlds that are open to everyone. And one thing we're thinking about a lot is your home in the Metaverse.
Right. There are public spaces for everyone, but it's just as important to think about the personal spaces that are yours. Your home in the Metaverse should be accessible no matter what device you're using. And it should be a social space where you can invite your friends no matter what devices they're using. And you should feel the same level of comfort and ownership as you do in your home in the physical world.
That's right, and this means that nobody should enter without your permission. You're in control of who stays and leaves, and what's said in these spaces is personal. But you can also share them if you want. Here's what this personal space looks like right
VR
now.
house party, let's go!
So ideally, it's like the physical world. Your personal space is where you should feel most like you.
This is all great stuff. Thanks, Vishal. and I can't wait to see what's next.
That must be some typescripting going on.
The social platform of VR is still taking shape. At the other end of the spectrum, you have probably the most established part of the ecosystem, gaming. So let's talk more about all the incredible things happening in that space. Here's Melissa Brown, our head of developer relations. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Boz. And hi to everyone joining us for Connect. This part of the VR ecosystem is truly thriving. It feels like every week developers ship another amazing game for Quest 2. Titles like Little Cities, Golf Plus, or Red Matter 2, which look beautiful and are so much fun to play.
Haven't heard of
If you want
any
an
of them.
example of just how fast this platform is growing, take a look at The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners from Skydance Interactive. It's now surpassed $50 million in revenue on Quest alone.
Like, who doesn't want to shoot some zombies in a VR experience? Like, that is definitely a lot of
Nearly
fun.
double its revenue from all other platforms.
Or look at Zenith the Last City from Ramen VR. It took only 24 hours for it to make its first million in revenue on the Quest store. And Resident Evil 4 from Capcom and Armature Studios made $2 million its first day.
Nice. So this is going to motivate more of the AAA developers to do crossover content.
Blade and Sorcery Nomad from Warp Frog made its first million in just 2 days. A number of other devs have also done so in as little as 3 days.
This kind of velocity is why I'm so optimistic about the future for VR developers. To date, $1.5 billion has been spent on games and apps in the Quest store. And it's hard to believe when you see what's already dropped this year, but there's so many more still to come. And today we're going to share a few of them with you. What are you most excited about, Melissa?
How about we start with a trailer from the latest team to join Oculus Studios.
Ooh! Ooh, baby!
Caught up with you.
Why'd you stop selling weapons, Tony?
Oh, yes!
You can't change the past.
I want to change the world.
Okay. I'm hyped.
All systems back.
I'm hyped, yo. I'm really hyped. Who doesn't want to be Tony Stark in VR?
The world needs you, Tony. The world needs Iron Man.
Marvel's Iron Man VR has been one of those dream projects for us. We've been fans since it launched, and we could not be more excited for the talented teams at Camouflage and Endeavor One to bring the game to MetaQuest 2 this November, along with our partners at Sony Interactive Entertainment and Marvel Entertainment. Next is the
Yo, Sony Interactive, great job, Meta, landing this, because like Jarvis and the interaction of like flying around as Iron Man with the what do you even call that? The HUD, the heads-up display and all that stuff that you get with Jarvis would just be very compelling in VR. And Sony Interactive tells me that this title may also be coming to the PlayStation then.
multiplayer phenomenon.
Cool.
Population One, which is
PSVR, that
evolving
is.
in a big way this December, with the debut of Population One Sandbox,
Okay, I have a couple friends who are obsessed with Pop 1. Like, this is the sort of Fortnite of the VR space. I played it once or twice. It's a lot of fun. I see the hype. And honestly, the fact that it's so performant and just runs so well on just a Quest 2 makes it really a lot of fun. Like all the interactions of like how you climb up walls, how you hide for cover, how you squat up together in these little pods that get projectile down in this sort of like battle royale format, just really nicely done.
user-generated map creator, you can take the action anywhere, limited only by your imagination. A moon base, a Viking village, or a
Moon
fight
base,
with
Mars
swords in
base.
Zero G.
Mars
If you're
base.
not a creator, no worries. You can discover and play through new or featured community maps with your friends. The team at Big Box
That's basically like Fortnite creator mode applied to Pop 1. That's going to be very interesting.
VR is excited to bring endless replayability to Population One.
That looks awesome. But I'm pumped for the next title, though.
Yes, calling all crewmates. You know you've been waiting for an Among Us VR release date ever since it was announced at the Game Awards. Well, wait no longer.
Where's GTA?
Innersloth, Robot Teddy, and Shell Games
They got
will
so
release
much crap
Among
for
Us
that last
VR
year.
for ages 13 plus on MetaQuest 2 on November 10th. And pre-orders open today. Soon you'll be betraying friends from a first-person perspective.
The unofficial Among Us games are really popular in VR chat. That's how I got introduced to it. I've never played this outside of a VR context. That looks like a lot of fun. Cool.
This next title is also fun, but in a more terrifying way. It's time to check the itinerary for our upcoming trip to New Orleans.
Now, we promised folks the next installment in the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners series would be out later this year.
Let's take a look at Skydance Interactive's Chapter 2, Retribution.
Well, look at you, tourist. The living getting more desperate. Guess you ain't the only one who thrives on creating havoc.
Chainsaws. Oh, yes. Uzis.
Gonna take nothing short of a miracle.
These are like the fun parts of Doom. Like, there's just so much fun.
To survive what's coming. Wherever the tourist goes, death ain't far behind.
It's 2 years in the making, and new faces, places, weapons, gear, and loot await you as you head towards a final showdown that will decide the fate of New Orleans.
All right, and we have one more to show, right?
Right. Our friends at Skydance have also been working on something new. Here is your first sneak peek.
Oh my God, the graphics.
This is only possible because of the developers on this journey with us. It's a testament to the things that you've built and the people you've delighted and inspired with your work. You continue to push the boundaries of what's possible time and again, and you show us that there's a lot more ground to break. When we launched the original Quest in 2019, we could not have imagined that just a few years later, we'd have games like Red Matter 2 and Medal of Honor Above and Beyond running on a mobile chipset. But you've made it happen. The pass-through modes and apps showed us the early promise of mixed reality. And we're so excited to see how you will revolutionize this space the way that you did with VR.
Totally.
Yo, okay, so this pass-through point is basically foreshadowing for obviously the Quest Pro that they're going to launch, right? Like thus far, VR experiences have largely been closed off. You're in a fully virtual world and you're embodying certain aspects of the world around you, right? Like you can maybe have hand tracking, you can otherwise using just controllers or articulated finger tracking. And of course, you're tracking your space and body movements. Maybe you add on additional controllers, but for all intents and purposes, that's about it, right? Like you've got this grayscale pass-through. But I've always said, right, like the stepping stone to AR will be a pass-through VR headset. You know, Vervana was a company that got purchased by Apple that did exactly this. Super high acuity RGB cameras that pass through the environment. And yes, you're still wearing a heads-up display, but the feed of the real world coming in is just so immaculately crisp and low latency that you can use it to build AR experiences that will like are years away. Like, if you've ever tried the HoloLens 1 or 2 or the Magic Leap 1 or 2, like, the field of view is tiny. In this scenario, you've got massive field of view. And you can start building and imagining these sort of experiences, especially in the context of, like, indoor spaces that will apply really well to AR experiences when we can actually achieve that with a true AR form factor.
And the best experiences also incorporate some kind of unique movement, which brings a really different dimension compared to our other gaming platforms.
That's been the key to fitness apps, which have turned out to be some of the best experiences you can have in virtual reality. Developers have hit on the winning combination of a physical workout and the virtual immersion of a headset to make something completely new, and people love it.
Come on, it's that leg.
Users globally return to Quest 2 for fitness every month, and VR fitness apps can be just as intense as a regular workout. They're great for when you can't get outside or want to get in a quick session in between activities. Some of the stories coming out of the fitness community are just awesome. One of my favorites is Linda, a grandmother of 7.
When my son came home with a Quest, I fell in love with it
That's
the moment
awesome.
I put the headset on. When I first opened the app for Supernatural, the scenery is just so beautiful.
It really does
You're
transport
just
you.
moving to the music. I was having fun. I was hooked.
Dodging those lasers and feeling good.
Moving with a purpose gave me purpose to move.
You know, people talk about a state change. Putting on a VR headset is one hell of a state change, especially since you can completely change your environment. And then you've got these interactive cues that are, again, spatial. So it's not like watching a fitness instructor on your TV like I've got back there, right? Like, it's far more immersive and engaging when you've got these spatial cues coming at you, and you almost viscerally want to react and move, you know, in accordance to the cues that you're getting, right? Which makes all these sports experiences so much fun.
Deliberate fitness apps enjoy remarkable retention. I think it's because they're fun, and you have the support of real communities out there, cheering each other on.
There are a lot of VR titles that bring the burn, such as Les Mills Body Combat, FitXR, and Supernatural. And they're always getting better, bringing on new instructors, classes, and moves.
Speaking of which, at the end of this month, Supernatural is launching knee strikes to better activate your core and work your lower body.
That's right, people are going to be pumped for that one. Now, we've got one more fitness experience that's making the move from App Lab. Get your jump shot ready because Gym Class is coming to the Quest store later this fall.
Let's do this.
No way. Okay, I'm skeptical that like a basketball interaction could feel as fluid. But who knows? That's what I said about table tennis, and that turned out to become a solved problem very quickly.
Let's go! I'm open!
Shoot!
Kobe!
Let's go. Let's run it back.
Pick up basketball in VR. Oh my God, that's amazing. This reminds me of the time I was playing table tennis with a friend, and I decided to make the usual dive that I do and put my hand out to get supported by the table to just make this perfect shot, only to realize there was no table in front of me, and I absolutely ate crap.
My jump shot is most definitely not ready, but I can't wait to try.
How are you gonna box out people?
I think I've tried pretty much every fitness app out there. And one thing you learn is that when you work out in VR, you're gonna work up a sweat.
So to help people stay active with confidence while keeping their headsets clean, later this month, we're releasing the Meta Quest 2 Active Pack.
Much needed. Yeah.
Available online in the Meta store on October 25th. This is our fitness accessory bundle with a wipeable facial interface, wrist straps, and adjustable knuckle straps to provide the perfect combination of comfort and control.
People have also been building some really neat fitness accessories for Quest, like extension grips and custom handles. It's great to see this secondary market emerging. And this is just the beginning. As part of the Made for Meta program, formerly Oculus Ready, we're working with leading hardware makers to bring more.
I'm still salty about this. Why did y'all ditch the Oculus brand? Everyone literally, it was like what iPod is to MP3 players. Everyone just automatically says, oh yeah, do you have an Oculus? Oh, why would you ditch that?
More accessories to Quest.
I get maybe all the baggage associated.
Starting next year.
Still.
Yes, there's more we can do to unlock the power of the platform for fitness overall. This year, we shipped one of the features a lot of you were asking for: fitness tracking on the MetaQuest companion app and the health app on iOS.
We've seen how important these kinds of foundations are for developers. And we know fitness is a space with a ton of opportunity right now. So this fall, we're releasing the Fitness API Beta for select developers. It lets people share real-time fitness data and unlock things like custom stats or new levels based on the progress that they're making.
And in case you're the kind of person who needs some external motivation,
this is such a good point, right? Like, because you might be wearing like an Apple Watch or a Whoop or whatever, But in reality, the Facebook experience, the Meta experience has way more data on how your body's moving, right? Like you're tracking both your hands. Of course, you've got your head movements. All this sort of stuff can be factored in to give you a far more accurate estimate of how many calories you burned.
Next year, we're also releasing a new way to share your fitness.
All they need is a heart rate sensor, and I wonder if the Meta Quest 2 with the eye tracking can actually look at your, blood vessels in your eyeballs dilate and expand and measure your heart rate that way. I'm pretty sure they can, but y'all can keep me honest.
Progress with selected friends, so they can support you along the way.
That's sweet. Do you think real VR fishing counts as an upper body workout?
Yeah, good luck with that. But it's so exciting to watch fitness find its footing on Quest. When you can tie physical interaction and digital objects together, the possibilities are really endless.
And really, this fitness space has been one of the verticals that has expanded VR beyond this sort of niche market to people that conventionally wouldn't even care about gaming, right? Like you can suddenly make a workout in your living room far more interesting. I kind of wish there was an app that I could just use with, while I'm on a treadmill to be walking down scenic routes and experiences and kind of transport myself rather than what I do today, which is I put one of those walking videos on YouTube.
They extend way beyond fitness. This is only the first step.
It sure is. Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks, Boz.
As you've seen so far, you can have a lot of fun in VR. You can hang out with friends, do a workout, play a game. Sometimes you can do all three at once. But you can also get work done.
Ooh. Okay, so work is interesting, right? Because at the last Meta or Oculus Connect, they really talked a lot about Horizon being this experience that connects conference rooms across the world, allow you to, it's like a workplace where you can have a meeting, right? The amount of memes that were generated off the back of that is like, oh my God, we're digitizing like the worst of a Silicon Valley conference room and bringing it to the masses. How soulless can it be? So it'll be interesting to see what they did there, because honestly, they made a bit more of a pivot back to their roots of social. And yeah, let's see what they've got
While
to say
games, social, and fitness are already here, work is really the next major category of experiences that we want to unlock to bring VR to the next level.
Zuck.
And if we're talking about work, let's get my boss
Dude
back
always
in the
cracks
picture.
me up.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, the potential here is pretty huge. Like a lot of companies, we're planning for a future where work is more distributed. But as in-person work ramps up, we want everyone to have the ability to feel like they're present, even if they're not physically there. And there are definitely things that could improve the way that distributed teams actually work together.
I mean, no doubt. There are parts of being around other people that you just can't replace with video calls. It's true for hanging out with friends, too. And it's true for work.
Yeah, I mean, the feeling of presence that you get from VR, even today, can already be better than video chat. The clearest benefit is for communication itself, but it's also great for creative work that's best done in a shared space. Companies are already discovering that VR is uniquely good for this type of stuff.
I mean, it's amazing what's already being done. For example, companies are using VR to plan large-scale in-person events. At Logitech, they used ShapesXR, a collaborative creation app on Quest, to quickly explore different kinds of layouts and different designs together in real time.
Yeah, I mean, this is where VR just lets you do things that aren't even possible on a 2D screen.
This is facts, right? Like you could totally be huddled around people and doing something like somebody's got Maya open or Blender open and they're gray boxing. But the fact that you can all put on a headset and see the spatial canvas and like populate it together in 3D, I think that like that you've got these superpowers and now you're bringing it into the 3D world.
Screen.
It's a whole new kind of creative tool. Puma and New Balance have been designing shoes in VR using Gravity Sketch, one of my favorite 3D design apps on Quest 2. Novartis uses Nanome, a VR molecular design and collaboration app in their drug discovery workflow. And ITC, a part of the United Nations, are running trainings and workshops in Arthur, a virtual office space on Quest 2.
Cool.
Yeah, you can really collaborate at a distance in a completely new way here. And there's a lot more that we can do to unlock this for teams across all kinds of industries. We build Horizon Workrooms as a first step towards a virtual office in the metaverse. It feels more like being there than any video call. You see more of people's body language, and the spatial audio gives you a sense of each person's place in the room. And you can have side conversations with the people sitting next to you or gesture without physically being there together.
Now, the side conversations point is really, really, really important because like once you nail spatialized audio, and spatial audio is still pretty hard, but they do a fairly good job of modeling that in their experiences. Like you can indeed have those sidebars that are very hard to do in sort of the rectangular grid video chat, paradigm without resorting to breakout rooms. Essentially, that's the point of a breakout room. It kind of is a proxy for side conversations. Whereas if you're in a truly 3D world, right, like I might exchange a quick, have a couple lines with a person sitting next to me as a reaction to what's happening or getting their input, but still staying engaged and plugged into this broader conversation.
It's hard to fully wrap your head around this until you get to experience it.
Yeah,
We've been holding a bunch of our team meetings and workrooms over the last year, and it's amazing how much better it can be. There's just something magical about
I would love to be a fly on the wall in those
creating
meetings.
that feeling of being around people. Once you've experienced it, you know it's the future.
So we're continuing to improve the Workrooms experience, and starting early next year, you're going to be able to join Workrooms through Zoom too. We're also introducing breakout rooms.
Did they just gloss over that? You'll be able to join Workrooms through Zoom too, and that's it? What?
So your team can shift from a big group presentation to smaller discussions in the same room. And with sticky notes for whiteboarding, you're going to be able to have group discussions and brainstorm in ways that you just can't do on video alone. We're also working on a new feature to import and review 3D models in a workroom, which is going to be really helpful for design and architecture and all kinds of other creative work.
We want this to be more than virtual meeting rooms. It's about the beginning of a virtual office in the metaverse. And that's why we're launching your personal office and workrooms today.
So this is where you can focus and get things done. One of the best things about VR is that you can create environments that go beyond what's possible in the physical world. And of course, that goes for productivity setups too. So you have instant access to your perfect workspace that's set up just how you want, no matter.
So Zuck loves this point, right? The perfect workspace. This is one of the dreams. Once you have high acuity, high field of view, like high fidelity VR headsets, you could essentially replicate your 4-monitor setup and take it with you and really even do things that would be very hard to do in sort of a physical environment. Suddenly changing context of the environments that you're into to spur creativity versus designing and ideating on a massive whiteboard. Or doing all sorts of crazy things like 3D mind palaces, stuff that we can't even really fathom today.
No matter where you are.
So you might only have a 13-inch laptop in your physical space, but in your virtual office, you can line up 3 huge monitors. This is great at home or at work, and even better when you're traveling. Eventually, we think your Quest could be the only monitor that you'll actually need.
That'll be awesome. We're still early in the shift to working in the metaverse, but the way people can collaborate in workrooms shows that there's an opportunity for a VR headset designed from the ground up to be great for work, as well as playing games and hanging out. All right, Boz, I think it's time. What do you think?
Oh, it's definitely time. Take it from here, Mark.
All right.
Uh-oh, here it comes. Here it comes.
So this is an important moment. Virtual reality isn't some obscure hobby anymore. Millions of people use it to play games, work out, collaborate, or just have fun. Everyone from the newest indie developers to the most established
nice Pelican case at the back,
tech companies are getting into this space. But for virtual reality to really reach its full potential, we need to get to the point where the 200 million people who buy new PCs each year for work can do some or all of their work even better in the metaverse. At Meta, we're focused on building the fundamental technology that will help bring the metaverse to life, whether that's in virtual reality, augmented reality, or the social presence layer across both. What if you could collaborate with colleagues as if you were right there together, even if you were far apart? What if you have that perfect work setup and tools to design new things integrated right into the world around you? What if you could overlay your work and the people you're interacting with right on top of the physical world? This device would help you be more present, more productive, more you. So to deliver this, you'd need better quality graphics and tech that seamlessly works in both virtual and physical worlds, so you can interact with people around you, be fully immersed when you want, and flow between states effortlessly.
That is key. This device needs to be able to blend the physical and digital divide. And I'm so excited because they're going to do that exact XR concept that I talked to you about.
You need something comfortable with much richer ways to communicate. Technology that lets you do things that aren't possible with a laptop and go far beyond what you can do on a phone. And you'd need to be able to really express yourself, react to things naturally, show up in a way that feels authentic to you. I think that this is one of the most exciting technical challenges of our generation. Building technology to deliver that feeling of really being present with people, really being in another place. So we've taken everything we've learned from Quest 2 and designed an all-new headset to do just that. This is Meta Quest Pro.
Let's go! Oh, that looks clean. Pancake lenses, baby. Let's go. Looks quite comfortable. I'm assuming more precise and articulated controllers. Ooh, I love that charging pad.
Quest Pro is the first in our new line
It almost looks like the HoloLens too.
of advanced headsets, built to expand what's possible in VR. It takes what people love about Quest 2 and adds a bunch of new technologies to help you do more in the metaverse. It's made for collaboration and creativity. It delivers more expression and a deeper feeling of connection than any other technology.
I'm gonna
Mixed
pre-order
reality
this.
built in, it lets you do things that just haven't even been possible before. It's all in a beautiful design that's comfortable to wear. So whether you're looking to work in a new way, or if you just want the very best experience that's available today, Quest Pro sets the standard. So to get into the details, let's check in with Angela Chang, who leads our Quest product team. And since this is a big day, let's go somewhere a bit special. This is the new Quest Pro home environment. When you put on your headset for the first time, this is where you'll be. Hey, Angela.
Hey, Mark.
I bet they're doing this as a virtual production thing. I'm assuming this is like a wraparound LED display, just because the lighting is immaculate. I'm not seeing any green screen
All right,
spill.
you finally get to show everyone what was in that briefcase at last year's Connect.
Finally, I'm so thrilled we get to bring Quest Pro to everyone. We have completely reimagined the VR headset as a powerful device for productivity, creative work, and multitasking. Quest Pro is our sleekest form factor yet, with a super thin set of lenses at the front and our first ever curved cell battery at the back to give it a perfect balance.
Yeah, it feels great from the moment that you put it on.
Right. We wanted to ensure a seamless transition from the physical world to the virtual.
This is key. Those sensors in the front are going to be super, super crucial in creating this pass-through XR experience, right? XR is the nomenclature, the terminology that tends to be used the most for a device that can do both AR and VR. So super high resolution cameras and a bunch of depth sensing technologies. Oh my God, really good display and optics.
So our new headset design with this open periphery lets you see the physical room you're in. You can quickly
Open periphery is also key, right? Like if you're a developer or a creator that's needing to interact with peripherals on your desktop, like, I mean, I've got this keyboard, like, sure, you can start like motion tracking all of these things, but in reality, you maybe do want to have a little bit of field of view into what's going on around you. So it seems like they're going to keep the headset open for that reason.
Grab something on your desk, or just be aware of what's happening around you. But you can also use Quest Pro's magnetic light blockers for a more immersive experience.
Thanks,
whenever
TikTok,
you like.
by the way.
We've also redesigned the whole optical stack to make it better than anything we've shipped before. The new pancake lenses work by folding light over several times and let us make the display 40% thinner compared to Quest 2.
The new lenses aren't just thinner. They also put more pixels in the center, giving you sharper, clearer visuals, which makes reading text
Pixels per degree. I need that high PPD. Let's go.
a whole lot easier.
Yeah, and the LCD displays have 37% more pixels per inch than Quest 2. And thanks to our new local dimming technology, 75% more contrast with richer and more vibrant colors that just make VR even more engaging. This is also our first device to use the new Snapdragon XR2 Plus processor.
Snapdragon, so basically Qualcomm and Meta have been working on VR headsets from the get-go. And so this is the creme de la creme of SoC, systems on a chip. And oh my God, like we've got some serious throughput now on this device. It's maybe not, I'm curious to see how this compares with something like Apple's M2.
We worked on with Qualcomm. It's optimized for VR, so Quest Pro runs at 50% more power with better thermal dissipation, which gets a significantly better performance. And this is the first new chip from our deep partnership with Qualcomm.
And don't forget, the touch controllers are also new.
Yeah, the controllers are now basically their own computers, which is a bit ridiculous. We've re-engineered them to track themselves and also work a bit more like extensions of your hands.
Yeah, the new sensors track their
All right, so what I'm reading online is that the M1 by Apple is already faster than the XR2.
positioning in 3D space all on their own without using the headset, so you can get a full 360-degree range of motion. And they include our new True Touch haptics, which give a wider and more precise range of feedback effects.
So when you pick them up, they also...
But that was with just the XR2. So the XR2 Plus Gen 1 claims 50% higher sustained power. Oh my God, ultra low latency.
feel a lot more balanced.
Improved thermal performance. Wow.
It's natural in your hands without that LED ring.
You can even add a stylus tip on the controllers, turning them into tools for writing or sketching.
Okay, so this is key. I was assuming that the controllers would be far more, precise with their tracking, so you can have fine-grained articulated movements. And with something like that, it really starts turning into, a 3D Wacom tablet.
You can try this on the whiteboard in workrooms, or you just flip them around and write directly against your own physical desk.
Yeah, it's a good example of how this device unlocks entirely new things, like much better collaborative and creative virtual meetings.
Speaking of meetings, we also thought a lot about how to help you keep the headset charged and ready to go the moment you get an incoming call or just want to get something done. So we're including an all-new charging dock that fits great on your workspace and keeps both the headset and controllers charged at the same time. Another key technology for enabling collaborative meetings virtually is mixed reality, where we have to account for both the physical and digital elements in the environment.
Yeah, being able to blend the world around you with the virtual world and bring all the creative and expressive power of digital to your physical surroundings, this is a big step forward. Mixed reality is going to power some of the most interesting experiences you can have with Quest Pro. It's the next major step for VR and an important milestone on the path to building the metaverse.
We began the journey to mixed reality when we released Presence Platform, our family of AI-powered tools that help developers build VR experiences that incorporate the physical world.
We built mixed reality into our SDKs for Quest 2 to make it easy for developers to start experimenting. But these experiences are so compelling that you really want a device that's designed from the ground up with them in mind.
Absolutely. Quest Pro uses high-resolution cameras.
So that is the dream right there, right? Like you can have this 3-monitor setup. You've got something up top with your Dropbox files, what it looks like. You've got a chat conversation going, and you're just doing this all without really actually any physical monitors. So you can imagine taking this portable headset with you to a hotel room. This is the dream that consulting companies have had forever, right? Like the Accenture workforce, the McKinsey workforce, or the Deloitte workforce can now just send their professionals around with maybe a laptop, but a laptop that's sitting to the side. And now you've got ultimate productivity no matter where you are.
Cameras that capture 4 times as many pixels as Quest 2.
Okay, 4x the resolution.
And
Yo, Don Ellen, shout out to Don Ellen 3.
Additional RGB camera to turn Passthrough into full color, along with a depth system made to understand your environment and work with it.
There we go. It sounds like there's some active depth sensing happening too.
Yeah, you can see the people around you, and with scene understanding and anchoring.
So scene understanding and anchoring are two of the features of the Presence platform that was announced at last, Meta Connect. And so this is interesting because at that point, really, the use cases were, hey, I've scanned my place already, right? So that's the Guardian system. When you set that up, you're essentially creating a 3D scan of your room and converting that into a set of machine-readable points that then your headset uses to localize you. But that's not all. It's also your Quest 2. If you've noticed, you get those notifications that something is blocking your play area. It's also recognizing new objects and comparing that with the prior map that already exists. So it can also look at semantic entities within a scene too, and then you can start creating anchors. So let's say I want my TV over there to be an anchor, or I want a painting on the wall to be an anchor, or maybe that hue light that I have on both of these sites. Now I can have virtual objects that will be persistently anchored to that, and perhaps in the future also just controlling those lights to create this more immersive mixed reality experience. The sky is the limit. I'm really excited to see what developers and creators do with this.
Objects in your room can become part of the virtual experience.
There you go. You can see everything is precisely tracked to that, longboard in this case.
This is going to unlock some really interesting new uses. And this is just the beginning for mixed reality. As more developers explore the capabilities and Presence platform, you're going to see entirely new categories of things getting built.
100%
Definitely. Another big part of Quest Pro is how much more expressive you can be. You can see here how people's avatars reflect their expressions and reactions. This makes your shared social experiences so much stronger. It's powered by our Movement SDK, our newest addition to Presence platform.
Wait, what are you doing?
I'm eating toast. I'm really hungry.
Movement SDK.
So if you ever saw like those research videos that Meta and Facebook have shown in the past, where they had this essentially like CV2 or like tethered VR headset with a bunch of face tracking sensors, sounds like they're able to do that now, including eye tracking. And both of those are so important to be able to construct more nuanced picture of how you're emoting and expressing yourself and transfer that and use that to drive like a virtual avatar.
SDK enables avatars to mimic expressions in real time using Quest Pro's inward-facing cameras.
And this is really important for that feeling
Inward-facing cameras also sound a little creepy, you know what I'm saying?
of social presence. When we communicate, all our nonverbal expressions and gestures are often even more important than what we say. And
So
the way we
true.
connect virtually needs to reflect that too. Just think about all the little things you pick up when you're with other people, like the moment that they begin to break into a smile, or when they raise their eyebrow as someone says something interesting. Your avatar should be able to express all of that and more.
Today,
That's
our
cool.
avatars rely on spatial audio and immersive graphics to help create a sense of social presence. But facial expressions and body language will be total game changers for remote meetings and virtual performances in the metaverse. This is another reason why Quest Pro is a
I wonder if that was actually real or animated. Like
and virtual performances in the
that motion looks a
metaverse.
little.
This is another reason
Looks a little
why Quest Pro
keyframed,
is a
but
big
whatever.
step
It's a
forward for
launch event.
communication, including for work. More people work in distributed teams now, and being able to share a space with your coworkers and feel like you're really together is something that's still missing. We spoke a bit before about how Workrooms on Quest 2 is already unique for virtual meetings. It's going to be even more powerful when people's avatars can show more of their facial expressions and body language.
Yeah, one of the challenges for distributed work is how to bring people together to interact in a shared space. If a few people are in a conference room and a few more are dialing in, the experience is just never really that great. So we're
100%
building
agree.
a better way, using everything Quest Pro brings to the table. And we call it Magic Room. It lets you meet in mixed reality and share the same space. You can use a whiteboard, bring in 3D objects.
Is this like the Magic Leap Magic Verse, except the Magic Verse is your room?
Everyone is present and has the same tools, whether they're in full VR or in mixed reality. We think that this will help hybrid teams collaborate, and we're hoping to ship this next year. Now, these are just some of the things that are going to be possible with Quest Pro. This is a high-end device designed for work and for people who want the best experience that we can build today. We're really excited to get this into your hands, and it's available for pre-order starting today for $14.99.
And done.
And it
Already
ships
done.
on October 25th. Now, we built Quest Pro to be the best device we could make for getting things done. And our hope is
A reality board. Is somebody going to scan that QR code? Because I'm not.
to use this product to introduce some of this new technology so that we can get it into our consumer devices over the coming years. But what you can see here is the start of a whole new way of working in the metaverse. This will go beyond VR because people work on all sorts of devices, and you should be able to collaborate and feel present with anyone no matter where they are or what device they're using.
I love this omni-channel 3D experiences. And really, like, this is a $1,500 headset. Like, that's kind of expensive, right? Like, most people aren't going to buy this, but the creators, the builders, the tinkerers, the early adopters will. And now there's this, like, all the hard work of having to duct tape together your hardware to make this sort of pass-through experience possible, or buying like a really expensive Vario headset or something like that. You don't need to do that anymore, right? Like, you've got this awesome ecosystem of meta apps and experiences. Of course, they've progressively become more and more open, so I can use it with Steam VR. Like, this is probably the headset you're going to buy. And with this more spatial canvas for creativity and work, it'll be interesting to see what the developer and creator community do with this.
We've updated Workrooms, so you can join a virtual office from whatever supported device you're on, and still get some of that feeling of social presence in the shared space. It's also going to work with Meta's other main work products, Workplace and Portal, to create a unified digital office we think can make distributed work so much better.
And we're not the only ones who are optimistic about the future of work in the metaverse. Over the last year, we've been working with dozens of partners to create new experiences for people who are looking to get things done in VR and beyond.
At Connect last year, we spoke about the potential for creative people to work in true 3D. And next year, we're going to have a great option for that. Autodesk is updating their collaborative design review app to take advantage of the new possibilities unlocked by the Quest Pro.
Okay, like this is such a good example. These are workflows that are already building 3D worlds to actually like manifest them in real life, right? Like, and reviewing, doing a design review of a building in like 2D just doesn't cut it. And I mean, since 2014, basically, as like panoramic imagery came back in vogue, and then, you know, stereo panoramic imagery or stereo 360 videos became more and more ubiquitous thanks to things like YouTube VR and so forth. Like that became one of the de facto like artifacts that you produce as an architect, right? Like you use V-Ray, Redshift, whatever you use to stamp out a bunch of stereo 360 panos.
To take advantage of
And the reason that that's super important is because then you can embody yourself in the space and really get a sense for the dimensionality and make realistic decisions about, like, is this going to feel cramped, constrained? What is the space actually like? Like, all these questions, like, you cannot answer, even if you're using measurement tools, right? If you see it, we've got so much intuitive understanding that you can bring to bear when you're actually in an immersive world, because it parallels the real world.
The new possibilities unlocked by the Quest Pro.
And Adobe is also working to help people get more done in VR.
Cool.
Next year, they'll begin releasing a suite of apps for professional 3D creators, designers, and artists, from collaborative design reviews to Substance 3D Modeler using Quest Pro's control.
Didn't Adobe buy one of the applications that that Meta has? Like, was it Adobe buys Medium 3D? Let's see, was it Medium? Yes, Adobe acquires 3D VR creation tool Medium. Okay, so this makes a ton of sense to me why they went and did that.
Controllers. And there's one more partnership that I want to highlight today that I think is going to be really important to the future of the metaverse.
Yeah, I know you've got a special guest lined up to talk about this one, so I'll leave you to it. Have fun.
All right, yeah, I'm excited for this. Thanks, Angela.
He does look excited.
Microsoft has been at the heart of work and computing since the earliest days. And they're one of the many companies across our industry that are now building the future of the metaverse. And as Quest Pro makes new kinds of work possible in VR, I'm really excited to be able to work with them. So to talk more about this, I'm here with Microsoft's chairman and CEO, Satya Nadella. Hi, Satya.
Hi, Mark. It's great to be here with you.
What? Okay, that's amazing. I did not see this coming. That is absolutely crazy. Oh my goodness gracious me.
On the Meta Quest Pro.
You know, it's funny because, like, oh gosh, I got to switch the camera. Yeah, this is super funny because honestly, people don't know, or it's not well known, that it was actually Satya who was the first person to talk about the notion of the enterprise metaverse and really talk about it at a Microsoft earnings call before Meta did their grand rebranding. Oh my God, this is...
Thanks. I'm glad.
Okay, this also makes sense why they just like glossed over Zoom. I bet you they're going to talk about Teams. They have to. Productivity, Office. Oh gosh, this makes so much sense now. Okay.
Glad we can finally share this with the world. Now, we knew early on that we wanted this to be a great device for getting work done. And working with Microsoft is a big part of making that happen. Do you want to share a little bit more about what we're working on together?
Sure. I mean, as you said, at Microsoft, we're incredibly excited about the metaverse and how digital and physical worlds are coming together and transforming everything from telehealth to remote maintenance to gaming.
And, you know, look, they're just checking all the boxes. Like, this is Microsoft's bread and butter. They are building the enterprise metaverse between their investments in Xbox, Microsoft Flight Simulator, frickin' Azure, Office 365, freaking Teams. They've got all the pieces to glue together and enable these like productivity experiences, like super nuanced niche verticals, like remote telepresence for field service experts, like somebody sitting on some obscure piece of machinery needing to get guidance from somebody sitting in Germany on how precisely, like annotating in the field of view, telling them exactly what to do. They've got all the building blocks to make that happen.
And of course, the way we do work. We're taking an approach to ensure that our software can benefit users on all their favorite devices. And
also super strategic because just given like they bought Activision, right? Like all the AAA gaming IP that Microsoft like now controls, like it is super strategic for Meta and Facebook to have this, you know, kind of two-way relationship with them.
That's why I'm so thrilled about what we're announcing today and how we're bringing together the power of many of our most popular productivity tools with the new VR devices you're announcing.
Yeah, so the main reason that we're in this space is that we think that VR can be very powerful for social connection. And with the Quest Pro, we want to bring more of that into the work context as well.
This makes so much sense, right? Because when they did Horizon Workspaces, everyone's like, I'm not logging into my corp thing with my Facebook account. Ew, what the hell? I think that makes a ton of sense, but oh my God, really nice job. So it sounds like Facebook is going to focus more on obviously like the consumer social space, but their hardware will become a first-class citizen in Microsoft's ecosystem. Just super smart and strategic. Again, I thought it was hilarious that they just like glossed over, oh yeah, and by the way, we're bringing Zoom to this, to the Quest as well, and then just like move on.
Microsoft already has some incredibly successful products in the market. So why don't we start there?
No, absolutely, Mark. Microsoft Teams is the most...
Personally, not a big fan of Teams, but you know, just given like the bundling strategy that Microsoft has, Teams is getting really well adopted, right?
Ubiquitous advanced
like freaking Adobe is on Microsoft, all the things, right? They're using Outlook and shit, like Outlook and stuff. Sorry.
Platform for work today, and it's becoming essential to how hundreds of millions of people meet, call, chat, collaborate, and do business.
Facts.
And so we're clearly going through a once-in-a-lifetime change in how we work, and every organization today is looking for new ways to reconnect, re-energize their workforce at home, in the office, and everywhere in between. And that's why we are bringing Microsoft Teams immersive meeting experience to Meta Quest in order to give people new ways to connect with each other. You can
Nice. Very, very smart, right? So like if you haven't followed all the metaverse announcements that Microsoft's been making, they've got their own avatar system. And so you can essentially join these shared VC type environments and, you know, essentially embody your avatar in the experience if you don't want to turn your webcam on or like don't want to show where you're at or whatever, right? Like, so you can have people who are just like webcam feed, avatar, and now you can bring it into this more 3D spatial context.
Connect, share, collaborate as though you were together in person. And in the future, you'll be able to use other avatars, including meta avatars in immersive experience.
Avatars, indeed. That word obviously has a huge like Indian backstory and Vedic origins.
And Teams meetings too. Just think about how powerful whiteboarding or brainstorming or even Teams meetups can be in this space.
Another piece of this is that we're working on enabling Horizon workrooms for Teams. So people will be able to join a Teams meeting directly from workrooms. And we think that this kind of cross-device, cross-screen experience.
This is like the early stages of the metaverse, connecting these sort of otherwise disjointed experiences. And of course, this is being forged with like, you know, strategic partnerships between two big tech companies essentially agreeing on like the API contract to make this happen. But this is the type of the stuff like the Web3 world talks about, but even there isn't enough standardization to enable these type of experiences. So I've always been a believer that the best crossover metaverse experiences will be in a Web2 context.
Will be the foundation of the virtual office of the future. But this goes beyond Teams. Another big piece of your work platform is coming to Quest, right?
No, that's absolutely right. We've been thinking
Office,
about how to bring the power of Microsoft 365 and Windows 365 to 3D spaces to really help drive productivity and enable you to create, communicate, and collaborate.
I just want 3D Clippy, y'all. I just want 3D Clippy.
In completely new ways. So with Microsoft 365 coming to Quest, you'll be able to interact with sort of content from all your favorite productivity apps, right? Whether it's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, giving you even...
I want some 3D Excel graphs. Oh my God. That's the dream I had. Whenever I saw like the 3D features for making bar graphs and charts and so forth in PowerPoint, I always imagined what would it look like if there was an actual, headset experience powering this. But this is back in like 1999 when this...
Even more flexibility in how
couldn't
you
even imagine these
get
things.
Work done. And with Windows 365 coming to Quest, you'll have a new way to securely stream the entire Windows experience, including all the personalized apps, content, settings to your VR device with the full power of Windows and Windows applications.
So that sounds like basically like AirPlay or SharePlay, Apple's equivalent, but you're just streaming your like essentially Windows machine to your headset. It's like remoting into your machine. That's really powerful.
So this is going to be great for anyone who wants to build out their virtual office on Quest Pro.
Also so strategic, right? Because if Apple launches their like long rumored XR headset powered by this beefy M2 and all these things, it's going to have this sort of ability to use it as a second screen for your Mac in your home or office or what have you. And so now Meta can tout an equivalent offering for the Windows ecosystem, which is still far more ubiquitous in the enterprise.
So you'll have a great Microsoft Teams experience through VR, a way to join Teams meetings and workrooms, and you'll have the whole Microsoft 365 suite available too. And for bigger companies who want to roll out VR devices to their employees, we've also got some great news.
Yes, absolutely. Being able to manage and secure all devices connecting to your network is absolutely crucial for any business. And that's just as true for a VR headset as it is for a smartphone or a laptop. Azure Active Directory and Microsoft Intune in combination will support.
So this is slightly boring, but it's so important, right? Like if you're an enterprise or a small business that needs to manage and provision a fleet of devices, now you're basically going to have support for these Meta Quest headsets baked in, which makes it far more compelling proposition to start like piloting and eventually introducing these type of headsets into your enterprise and business environment.
Meta Quest and Meta Quest Pro. This means companies that want to provision these devices can be confident that all security and management options they expect from PCs and mobile devices will carry over to VR.
Nice.
Now, there's one final aspect of our partnership that I want to talk about, and that's gaming.
That's absolutely right, Mark. I'm really excited about...
I don't like Microsoft has the stronghold on gaming. I don't know how they keep just buying all these crazy companies without anyone batting an eyelash, but like it's insane. Like this, I know already what's going to happen. Like your Xbox, you're going to be able to, just like you're remoting into your freaking desktop machine, you're going to be able to just cast your Xbox onto your headset and have awesome experiences. And of course, they've got a cloud streaming service that could be super cool, right? Like I love using like the xCloud experience for flight simulators. So much fun. I did that all on cloud on this 4K TV behind me, and it was like fairly seamless.
Gaming, yeah. When you step back, one thing we have learned is how immersive experiences in gaming can help create real community and connection. In fact, many people are already playing our most popular games like Flight Simulator and Minecraft in VR today. And with xCloud gaming,
Flights
you
maybe
can
on
stream
PC.
hundreds of games to any device, allowing you to connect with gamers in all new ways, whether they're right next to you or sitting on the other side of the world.
That's a layup, and they just took
the
it.
Service to Meta Quest Store. You'll be able to play 2D games with your Xbox controller projected on.
It sounds like this partnership came together a little last minute just based on kind of the visuals and the claims that they're making. Hats off to them for pulling this off. That's amazing. But the potential for xCloud to be optimized for a true VR form factor is even more powerful, and I can just imagine that is the next logical step that they're going to take.
On a massive screen on Quest. It's early days, but we're excited for what's to come. Who knows?
Fair enough.
Next time we talk, maybe we'll be playing Flight Simulator together in VR.
I'm down for that. All right, thanks so much for joining us today, Satya, and thanks for the partnership.
Nice. That's
Thank
a
you, Mark.
cameo I did not expect.
And there's another
Wow.
element of this relationship that we want to talk about today that's going to play a big part in how businesses begin deploying VR. Accenture has spent the past few years changing how they work. They've been rolling out new technologies like virtual reality to their workforce to accelerate this shift. And they're helping other businesses make this change too. In fact, they work with 3/4 of the companies in the Fortune Global 500, so they have a pretty big impact on how many businesses work. And now, Accenture's chair and CEO, Julie Sweet, is going to join me to talk more about what's coming next. Hey, Julie.
Hi, Mark. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. Accenture is one of the world's biggest employers, and you've been growing rapidly over the last few years.
It's been a transformative period for us. We now have more than 700,000 people around the world.
Honestly, like consulting has always been remote, right? Like the notion of consultants essentially doing like a 3-4-5 schedule. If you're for the uninitiated, that basically means like you go fly out to the client side on Monday, spend a couple 3 nights there, 4 days there, and then you fly back essentially. And then you have Friday, usually at home or the local office. Like that is the closest thing to this type of like remote work experience that got supercharged over lockdown. Consulting firms have been doing this forever. So in many ways, they were way better prepared for this change that happened after 2020.
Even prior to the pandemic, we were probably the largest global company with a truly remote workforce. And we saw the potential for
Deloitte's
new
the same.
technology.
I did 2 years at
support the
Deloitte
way
right
we
out of
work.
college.
So in 2019, we started
That was
working
fun.
with Microsoft to imagine a virtual space where our people could get together. Obviously, this became even more important in 2020. And since then, we've deployed 60,000 Quest 2 headsets.
Nicely done.
And we have transformed our onboarding process, welcoming over 150,000 people onto our virtual campus that we call the Nth Floor, which we believe is the largest enterprise use of the metaverse. This provides a more dynamic immersion for our new team members, and our research shows a far more memorable one. People retain up to a
That's
third
funny.
more information when it's within an immersive experience.
Again, spatial. There's so much hardwired into us in our operating system that retains information when it's spatial, spaces, places, interactions that you have. Whereas it's all kind of a blur when it's just a rectangle on a screen. I totally buy that.
Watching what you've been doing at your scale has been impressive. And we think that working in the metaverse, well, you do things
Gotta
that
throw
aren't
in the
possible
scale.
with distributed teams today. And bringing together hardware, software, and services is going to be the first step.
Absolutely, Mark. We believe that the metaverse will not only change how people work, it will also profoundly change every part of every business. Reinventing how you interact with customers, what products and services you offer, how you make and distribute them, and how you engage with your people, from employee onboarding and training to collaboration and personal productivity. And VR will play a huge role.
Yeah, VR has been especially useful for training, and that's going to get even better with mixed reality. And we're excited to work with you on more use cases and to talk about the next stage of our partnership.
We're excited too. After what we've learned, we know there's a huge opportunity for our clients. Now we'll be partnering with Meta and Microsoft to help businesses create new experiences in the metaverse at scale.
All right, so that's what I was going to ask, is like how much of this partnership is kind of coming together. What great 3 dots to connect. Microsoft, you've got the client services business or the professional services business, and then you've got Facebook. So they're really leaning on people and companies whose strength it is to build enterprise solutions and have an existing, market share that is
This is a
pretty
perfect
ubiquitous.
trifecta. The advances in Meta's
The
visionary
trifecta.
hardware and software, coupled with the integration with Microsoft's market-leading technology and Accenture's
Nice job,
unmatched
comms team.
expertise, bringing the best of tech to industry to create practical, real-world uses and unlock tangible value. This will be game-changing for scaling the metaverse in the enterprise. The future of work is starting now.
Yeah, we want our devices to be easy for companies of all sizes to buy, deploy, and use. Next year, we'll launch Quest for Business, which is currently in beta. It's a subscription bundle for Quest 2 and now Quest Pro that includes a suite of features like work accounts, device and application management, premium support, and more. Quest for Business will also unlock access to integrations like we just announced with Microsoft, as well as others in the future.
I guarantee you SAP is coming to VR. Oracle is coming to VR. Salesforce is coming to VR. All of them had these kind of demos, but it's interesting now. Really, the foundation and the connective tissue and the substrate is sort of there for these applications to build on top and connect these existing enterprise systems.
It's going to be priced to suit the needs of different businesses, and we're going to be sharing more details over the coming months.
This is exactly what companies want and need to make the metaverse and VR for work a reality. As one of the largest users of Microsoft technologies and Quest 2 headsets for business, we've seen firsthand the impact on how they can change the way you do business. And we're looking forward to further integrating and shaping the many ways enterprises adopt them at scale. This collaboration is a very exciting opportunity for our 3 companies to bring the future to life for enterprises, businesses, and our customers.
And this is just the start. This has the potential to accelerate the future of work for so many enterprises. Thanks so much for joining us, Julie.
Thanks, Mark.
Now, we've spoken a lot about how Quest Pro opens up new possibilities for work, but that's far from the only thing it's going to enable. Now, we can't wait to see what kind of experiences developers will be able to build with mixed reality. Take Beat Saber. It's already one of the most popular VR games of all time. And now imagine what it'll be like when you can turn wherever you are into a Beat Saber arena. So the Beat Games team put together a little demo.
Oh yeah, I gotta see that. I was expecting that to be a little bit more impressive.
Now, this gives you a glimpse of what's possible. And because we want...
It would have been way cooler if they did some sort of social experience that was co-present like that, because then the embodiment is just obvious.
Everyone to be able to create things for the metaverse, not just professional developers. We're working on creator tools as well. Hundreds of thousands of creators already use SparkAR to build AR effects on Facebook and Instagram.
Yo, so I saw this coming the moment they had that experimental mode inside of the Oculus Quest 2, where you could essentially use the grayscale pass-through to start putting in SparkAR filters in your environment. That was that was a teaser that this was going to happen. Now that you have full color pass-through on the Quest Pro, like, duh, we got to be able to do this. So now you've got this lightweight authoring tool that lets you author immersive AR experiences, and now you've got the commensurate headset to take advantage of that, not just pass through on your phone, which is not immersive, right?
They have years of experience blending the physical and digital worlds, which is a core part of the metaverse. So starting today, we're giving creators the ability to build interactive 3D objects in Spark Studio and begin testing them in mixed reality with the Spark player. With virtual worlds becoming accessible across all your devices, with Quest Pro bringing mixed reality to the world, and with the future of work emerging in the metaverse, we have a lot to build in the coming years.
The pieces are coming together,
to find out what's next on the roadmap, we're going to need to shift gears. So if you're joining us in VR, hold tight, and I'll see you in a sec.
What? Who's joining in VR? Oh, there we go. Nice.
Hey.
That actually looks like him. That actually captures the nuances quite well.
And this is the first time that we've done this at Connect. And this is a preview of our next generation of avatars. They're so much more expressive and detailed than anything else today, and they have this unique meta style.
Everyone else just looks like a freaking action figure compared to Zuck right now.
Now, it's a lot of work to build AI to auto-generate these for billions of people, and then give everyone the tools to make sure that your avatar feels like your own. But I'm excited to start rolling these out later next year on phones, VR headsets, and more.
I see, Don.
While I'm excited for this next generation of avatars,
like, what better company than Meta to do this too, right? Like, just think about the insane amount of photos you already have sitting around on Instagram and Facebook. All the expressions that you've been captured, you through the ages, you should be able to synthesize avatars of different, like, kind of phases in your life even. I'm sure we're going to come to that, but maybe to start, it's going to be all about a more explicit scanning phase where you take your phone or what have you and, capture yourself in a far more structured fashion, if you will, before some of these more generative techniques start filling in the gaps and making do with whatever imagery is already sitting around on Meta servers.
We are also seeing a lot of developers and partners building great experiences with our current generation of avatars as well. So now, let's meet up with Igrim, who leads our avatars work, to discuss the latest on our avatars and what you can do with them. Hey, Igrim.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, want to update everyone on the latest with the avatars ecosystem?
Yes, we have so many exciting things going on.
How are they tracking the legs? That's my question. Because like in the earlier examples, it's like torso up.
Our first milestone is making it so you could use your avatar across all of our apps and in VR.
Maybe a little suspension of disbelief. They probably have trackers.
The new Meta Account Center, it already allows you to have one or multiple avatars. So you could show up however you want. And if you have one avatar you really like, you can now easily sync it across all the apps and in Horizon.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, let's talk a bit more about the integrations that we're building for the apps.
Already see avatars showing up in stickers, stories, comments, and more across Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, and in the future.
So Meta is catching up here. Like, to be clear, really the company, in my opinion, that innovated this and made it popular is Bitmoji and Snapchat, right? Like, sure, Microsoft was probably the first company that used the Kinect to embody your avatar into a virtual world, but that level of customization was cool and all, but like in terms of ubiquity and adoption, I think it's Bitmoji and then followed by Animojis on an iOS device or Apple in the Apple ecosystem.
Future WhatsApp. And we're working on bringing them more to life through animation and to more places like, for example, Reels. We want you to be able to
see, like avatar puppeteering is awesome. Some of the most popular filters I've made on TikTok have been avatars. People love
use
them.
Avatars anywhere you want to express yourself.
And we're also bringing avatars to video chat.
That's right. Starting with
like
Messenger and
Microsoft.
WhatsApp. If you want, you'll be able to show up.
It's like the Animoji mode that you can
Up
turn
as an
on in a FaceTime
avatar.
conversation.
It's going to add a whole new dimension to video chat.
Yeah, I think avatars and video chat are going to be like this third mode.
His eye contact is way off right now. He's like looking kind of here, actually. He's looking up a little bit,
Between video on and video off. You can still express yourself and react, but you're not
Maybe he's reading a teleprompter up there. I don't know. Inside his VR headset, that'd be hilarious.
on camera. So it's kind of like a better camera off mode.
Yeah, we're working on this now and expect
Better camera off mode. I love that. So if you're like scarfing down food, I don't need to see you eating a salad. Please, I really don't. Turn your camera off, but now you can have this like sort of approximate
to
experience.
launch it next year.
And in virtual reality, there's already head and hand positions, so your avatar moves and sounds like you. And now we want to bring that to phones and computers too, using cameras and microphones. So if you wink at your phone, your avatar on your phone should wink too.
He's definitely reading a teleprompter. I can just see his like eyes moving.
Making your avatar work across all kinds of devices and apps truly creates continuity across experiences.
Yeah, you should be able to take your avatar and
Again,
virtual
same
goods
thing.
everywhere that you go.
He's looking above the camera.
Absolutely. There are already dozens
Good
of
eye
apps and
contact here,
quests
though.
that support Meta avatars, and we're building partnerships so you can use your avatar across lots of different experiences. And in fact, today we're announcing partnership with Zoom that will let you show up as your avatar
Finally, Zoom. Oh, it's back.
on Zoom calls.
So to make this easier, we're extending the Meta Avatars SDK to iOS and Android on Unity. And I'm also excited to share that the Meta Avatar SDK will soon support Unreal Engine and virtual reality too. These expansions will make it a lot easier for more developers to start building Meta Avatars into your apps.
That's a strategic decision too, right? Like if you can make your SDK, your avatar SDK, just be supported by more creation and consumption platforms, it's more likely that you adopt it as your like de facto choice for your 3D identity.
Yes, we're testing this with a small group of partners now and plan to release this more broadly next year.
Yeah, so
I bet Ready Player Me is probably not feeling too good right now.
right now, a lot of developers are building their own avatar systems since the tools that you can import are pretty basic. But over the next year or two, as all these new tools and styles become available, and as the hundreds of people that we have working on avatars keep improving the system,
And it's not just the system, right? Like the creation workflows that Boz and Zuck alluded to earlier on are super important too, right? Like if I'm able to take this like base avatar, toss it into Substance Paint or Blender, I can add embellishments, do all this sort of cool stuff that you see happening organically in VR chat today.
I just think that more and more developers are going to find building with our interoperable avatar stack will offer a much simpler and better experience.
And that's so true, right? So you could make that asset, but then like all the blend shapes for facial expressions, like full body IK rigging, IKFK rigging to get like your avatar to respond the right way. Like all of those mechanics can be handled much better by them.
And speaking of making it easy to add new styles, we have some news about the Avatar Store too.
The Avatar Store is launching in VR later this year, so you'll be able to shop for virtual clothing in VR. We're joining with a bunch of partners across sports, entertainment, and more.
That's a cool idea. Digital goods, in-app purchases. We know this model works. Fortnite, skins, come on, Roblox.
You're gonna start seeing a lot more
This is
of
awesome.
your favorite familiar brands. These integrations, they're gonna be pretty awesome.
And later this year, keep a lookout in the Avatar Store for new outfit releases from Netflix.
Giving people more ways to express themselves through digital
Netflix, what are we gonna have, like Stranger Things throwback 80s attire?
Clothing will help kickstart the marketplace for interoperable digital goods. So if you buy a sweater, you're gonna wanna be able to wear that on your avatar no matter what app you're using. So we're gonna see more creators, developers, and brands experimenting with this. And beyond clothes, we're also improving the core avatars themselves across the whole family of apps.
Mark, I'm sure you've seen the new face shapes we introduced earlier this year, as well as cochlear implants, over-the-ear hearing aids, and wheelchairs.
Yeah, and we have some big improvements to representation coming too, with more options for.
And this is actually really cool, right? Like smaller avatar players are probably not going to prioritize things like accessibility and diversity in an early stage of their investment, but Meta really has that experience with all these other platforms, and bigger tech companies can bring that insight, knowledge, and understanding of what it means to make a more accessible, user experience into this 3D realm, which is really awesome to see.
Body types as well as shaders for more realistic skin.
Yo, getting the brown skin down is tough, so
There's
I'm
one
all
more
about
feature
it.
coming soon that's probably the most requested feature on our roadmap. Legs.
Okay, thank you for addressing that. I was like, yo, you can't just stroll in here and not explain how you're strolling in here.
Legs! I know you've been waiting for this.
I think everyone has been waiting for this. But seriously, the legs are hard, which is why other virtual reality systems don't have them either. And the perceptual science behind this is actually quite
downward-facing cameras.
interesting. And we discovered early on that your brain is a lot more willing to accept a rendering of a part of you as long as it's accurately positioned. But if it's rendered in the wrong place, then it just
Basically, no legs are better than bad legs.
feels terrible and it breaks the whole feeling of presence and immersion. So that's why we started off showing just controllers, but not your whole arms.
Yeah, if the system showed my elbow in the
super
wrong
key.
place, it would feel like my arm was broken.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
But as we got better at tracking and predicting your arm position, then we can add your whole arms to the avatar stack in addition to your hands. And now we're doing the same with legs.
How?
And now we're getting ready to
Explain.
launch the first full
Explain,
body
Zuck, how?
avatars.
Yeah, so with standalone virtual reality headsets, understanding your leg position is surprisingly difficult because of occlusion. So if your
Duh.
legs are under a desk or if your arms block your view of them, then your headset can't
Don't tell
see
me
them
ML.
directly, and you need to build an AI model to predict your whole body position.
And this really needs to work reliably, so it just feels natural.
Yeah, so that's why we're going to bring legs to Horizon first, and we're going to keep bringing them to more and more experiences over time as we improve our technology stack.
And we will bring new tech that lets developers implement custom avatar actions and behaviors for the experiences they want to create. That's coming next year, too, and I'm looking forward to seeing what all of you will build.
All right, thanks for stopping by, Igaram.
We have a lot to do, so I'll see you in the next review.
Great. See ya. Avatars are going to be central to how we express ourselves in the
That's
future.
funny.
And this is a unique opportunity to build some really interesting things at the intersection of expression, social interaction, creation, and commerce. With Horizon Worlds and Workrooms, we're already starting to see early glimpses of what this social metaverse could look like. Just check out some of the things that are happening already. Creators are building social spaces like the Soapstone Comedy Club, the Stew, a hip-hop recording studio, Nope World, and a whole lot more.
Yo, Kyle, fail to render. You got to get on this. I hope you're already on this.
And as this social-first platform takes shape, we're thinking about the virtual space that you will call home. When you first put on your VR headset or open Horizon, you're going to land in your own personal space, somewhere that you can design and decorate and make your own, invite your friends to hang out, get work done, or just relax and use it to jump into any experience. All right, now let's take a look at what's next. With Quest Pro, our next generation avatars,
What a
and Horizon
transition.
Worlds, we're making good progress on two of the most powerful windows into the metaverse: virtual reality for full
Windows into the metaverse.
immersion, and mixed reality for blending physical and virtual worlds. Looking towards the future, the last set of experiences that need to get built is augmented reality, where you see digital objects overlaid perfectly on the world around you. Now, the fundamental technologies across the stack to build full augmented reality glasses are coming together. The waveguide displays, sensors, silicon, AI, and more. I've seen a lot of these pieces working in the lab, and it's awesome. Now, I think that this is some of the most amazing technology in existence right now, and it's going to be really neat to see it come together into products over the next few years.
It is pretty
Other
cool.
pieces are coming along nicely too, like our Spark software that's already being used by creators to build AR experiences.
Is it coming along nicely? I think SparkAR has kind of been lagging behind Lens Studio. Personally, hot take.
That more than 750 million people engage with monthly in our mobile apps. And developers are going to be able to start building a lot more mixed reality experiences on the path to full AR using Quest Pro.
There you go. They built the stepping stone headset. Now they've got this like parallel line of professional devices that can make that futuristic canvas more accessible, so we can like figure out what the interaction models are, the experiences that resonate, all these hard problems without actually having that futuristic commercial all-encompassing AR device of the future.
Now, one thing that makes AR so hard is that the form factor needs to be something that you wear outside, around other people, and potentially all day long. And that's different from where VR is today. Glasses need to be relatively small to look and feel good. So we're approaching building augmented reality glasses from two different angles. The first is building out all the technology we need for full AR glasses and then working to fit it into the best glasses form factor we can. The second approach is starting with the ideal form factor and working to fit more and more technology into it over time.
That makes a ton of sense, right? Like on one hand, you're like, let's go all in on immersion. We need all these primitives and building blocks there, and we'll progressively make this headset thinner, smaller, lighter, all the things that you need. For example, just look at where we've come from, like something like the Quest Pro 2 sitting, the Vive Pro 2 sitting over here versus what you just saw with the Quest Pro, right? With the pancake lenses. And that evolution can continue nicely. On the other hand, you've got like essentially the Rayban glasses that right now are just like glorified Snapchat spectacles, right? Like, yeah, you've got some like speakers in there, maybe like 2 cameras that can do some interesting things, a microphone. And so like adding more smart glass functionality or like light AR functionality makes a ton of sense.
And we took our first step forward on this last year when we partnered with EssilorLuxottica to introduce Rayban Stories. Rayban Stories are our first ever smart glasses. You can take photos and videos, share them to Instagram, listen to music.
I would use this thing for 3D scanning everything, but the 30-second limit is such a deal breaker. The quality is okay. I wish it was slightly higher quality. And honestly, like, I use them more as regular Ray-Bans, to be honest. But that's why I'm happy that they actually went form factor first and like partnered with a company like Luxottica that owns Ray-Ban. So like, this isn't some iconic, these are some like really good sunglasses first, and then they've got some technology in them.
Take phone calls. But what sets them apart is the design of these glasses that people already know and love.
Facts, facts.
Now, this is just the first product to come from our partnership. To talk more about what's coming, let's catch up with Rocco Basilico, the Chief Wearables Officer at EssilorLuxottica. Hey Rocco, great to see you again.
Great to be back, Mark. Rayban Story had a fantastic first year. With Meta, we introduced a beautiful pair of glasses with superpowers.
And we keep launching new software updates to make the product even better.
Soon we are launching the ability to call or text on Rayban Story with your existing phone number, so you can stay connected and stay in the moment hands-free. We are also rolling out Spotify Tap.
Hey, that's kind of cool.
So you can listen to music on your glasses more easily. You can tap and hold on the side of your glasses to play Spotify. And if you want to hear something
I'm vibing
else,
with it.
Tap and hold again, and Spotify will recommend something new.
And you also keep launching.
Yo, I need this to be as intuitive as some AirPods. Can you make that happen, please? Then maybe I'll use
new
them.
designs.
Yes, we have added more style, lens, and color combination, including transition lenses for all
That's
the
cool.
use that go from clear to dark in seconds.
So this is the first product that we built together, but we've got bigger plans. So do you want to give a hint of where we're going?
Well, we are working together on a
hints.
new set of glasses to build a portal to the metaverse. It's an exciting multi-year project.
And this is different from what we're already doing with Project Nazare.
We view our partnership
Different
with
than
Meta
Nazare.
as a deep long-term partnership. Together, we will help bring augmented reality to life with beautiful design.
All right, thanks Rocco. I'm really grateful for our partnership. A lot of the underlying technology for the future of computing is still in the
Research section alert.
research phase. But we have working demos of this stuff, and it's pretty mind-blowing. And it wouldn't be Connect if we didn't share some of that with you. So let's start with one of the technologies that we think is going to be...
These are the sections of the talk that I love the most. I watch all the SIGGRAPH CVPR talks that all these companies do. Like, that is where the magic really happens, where you see these primitives coming to life before they graduate and bridge over to product land. Being a product manager in my day job, I love seeing stuff like this because it really captures your imagination. So
really important for the future.
Okay, that's
I've
a pretty
talked a lot about
lengthy
neural
section. So
interfaces
I was a little worried they were going to gloss over this, but
in our
seems like
research
not.
on EMG before. And we now have a working demo that lets you control an AR or VR device with motor neuron signals. Now, I'm not going to show you the headset this year, but here's what I'm seeing while I'm using this. Just the gentlest flick of my thumb to check my messages, and with another quick movement, I can answer while I'm on the move, or I can even take a photo. Now, the goal here is to make these interfaces faster, higher bandwidth, and a lot more now.
This reminds me of like the Thalmic Labs Mayo, the Mayo band that used to measure the subtle hand movements based on your musculature and your forearm.
All right, so to close us out today, let's check in with Michael to talk about our progress here and what still needs to get solved. Hey.
Hi, Mark. The future that all that new technology is creating is one that will change the world every bit as much as personal computing and mobile did.
Yeah, and a big part of this is going to be building next-generation interfaces, like the neural interface EMG demo that we just showed.
That's right.
EMG,
and
wow.
There's an important lesson to be learned from personal computing. What we saw there was that the interface to the digital world, the graphical user interface, was what defined the user experience and opened up new possibilities. Our challenge is that GUIs just can't do the job for glasses that have to work in all the situations we encounter in the course of a day, so we need something radically new.
In addition to new interfaces, we're also going to need a whole layer that can sense and reconstruct the world around you.
This is so important, right? Like, you have to be able to sense the world around you. You have to be able to sense how bodies, people, expressions, like, so people, places, things, like, that's the trifecta that you need to nail in any sensing platform.
Understand the context in which you're using these devices, and also just help you get things done when you have these digital capabilities mixed with the physical world. And this is really the job for AI.
Yes. In the long run, I'm confident that the most powerful way to interact with the metaverse will be through personalized AI. Thanks to the glass.
Yo, I mean, have you seen the Lambda stuff? Like, that's absolutely on point, right? Like,
AI will be able to understand your context and will use that to help you proactively. Ideally, so seamlessly that you won't even notice.
And this is the dream, right? Like in many ways, if you think about it, Apple is so well positioned for this, right? You've got your Apple Watch on, you got your AirPods on, you got your phone, you got a bunch of like assistant speakers sitting around in your house, right? Like the HomePods or what have you. All of those things can work in tandem, right? Like to essentially understand the context of the activity that you're doing and provide assistive guidance and suggestions in that context, right? So it knows when you're sitting in front of like, I don't know, your freaking, cast iron skillet cooking up a steak and you want to put just the right glaze on it versus when you're in the wood shop chopping some stuff up or exercising or right before you're able to set it, turning down for bed.
Now, combine that with electromyography technology, EMG, which uses the neuromuscular signals through your wrist directly as inputs.
Wow.
And you have an intuitive, almost frictionless interface. This will be the first truly human-centered interface. And a big part of that is that you won't have to learn how to use a rigid control scheme. Instead, the machine will learn and adapt to you as you use it. In neuroscience,
like this is important, right? Like there's a lot of people that choose an Xbox controller versus a PS5 controller because of how it feels in their hand, right? Like absolutely you've got to like essentially look at the entire like potential user base that you've got and then distill down the lowest common denominator design. With interfaces like this that are really taking advantage of the musculature and your own unique neurobiology, these interfaces and interaction modalities can adapt to the person, which is really powerful.
this concept is known as co-adaptation. And what that means to all of us is that by combining machine learning with neuroscience, this future interface will work with each user to adapt to their unique differences in physiology, sizes, preferences, and expectations. Here, you can see two people playing an arcade game with EMG.
Okay, that looks kind of
They're both
weird
using the same
too.
gesture, but because no two people are exactly alike, they do it in slightly different ways. The neural interface continuously gets better over time at understanding each person. The potential for co-adaptation
Temple Run.
extends beyond normal gestures into some truly novel territory. Here, the algorithm is learning in real time how to respond to the EMG signals the person is sending with only the slightest of hand movements. The system is recognizing the actions the person has decided to perform by decoding those signals at their wrist and translating them into digital commands.
So I have like both positive and negative reactions to something like this. The positive side of this is like, wow, what a far more intuitive way to embody yourself, and interface with computing essentially, right? Like in a fully immersive context, but also these far more subtle contexts. Like, just think about when you give that subtle gestural cue to your friend when you want to like leave a space or something like that. It just takes the certain head and eye movement to let your friend know that y'all want to dip out to the next spot, right? Like in a similar fashion, I think the downside of all of this is I kind of worry that you never know when people are going to be engaged, right? Like when you're sitting across from somebody and they've got their phone out, you kind of know that they're like distracted, but now you could be sitting in front of somebody and still be totally somewhere it's completely different. I kind of worry about that, right? Like, what does that mean for social interactions when it's so easy for us to be distracted in a context, but not look like you're distracted?
And now, the person is able to communicate their intended actions to the computer with almost no hand movement. This is a genuine transformation in the way we interact with the digital world.
Yeah, this has the potential to redefine a lot of how we interact with computers. If you think about the step change in capability that came with the mouse and graphical user interface, this should be another big step beyond that in speed and the bandwidth of our interfaces. And this is one of the wildest projects I think that we're working on.
These future interfaces will be truly life-changing. An example that I love is Carnegie Mellon University's NavCog project to help the visually impaired. Our Project Aria research classes can 3D map their surroundings, so CMU used them to build phone maps.
So what's up with this? You can use the Project Aria glasses, but you have to handicap the Raybans for 30 seconds of video recording? Like, come on. Oh, we'll make it a minute. Like, come on, just give me, like, continuous
the visually
recording.
impaired to navigate more confidently indoors, where GPS signals often don't reach. Here's a look at how this works.
For years, I've gotten around with the assistance of my guide dog, Flirt. I love and depend on her dearly, but a guide dog is not a navigation system.
Juice bar is on your right.
NavCog can
I don't know. Doggos are pretty cool though. But yeah, maybe not. The precision and recall may not be 100%.
change that.
There is a ramp, 140 feet.
What we're working on is a turn-by-turn assistive technology that we've developed at Carnegie Mellon University. We teamed up with Reality Labs and Meta and started using their Project Aria research glasses to build a 3D map of the Pittsburgh International Airport. The maps help the user figure out where they are without having to rely so heavily on external beacons. This is huge because it makes NavCog scalable.
All right, so basically it's just like a...
Rely so heavily on external beacons. This is huge because it makes NavCog scalable.
This just looks like traditional SFM, right? Structure from motion, photogrammetry, essentially. You're mapping this space with a bunch of sensors on your face. It doesn't matter if it's a pair of glasses or a GoPro or what have you, 360 camera, it doesn't really matter. And then you're localizing against it to give people turn-by-turn directions. Really cool use case. And I guess I see the advantage of having these glasses because like at the last Meta Connect, they essentially talked about this notion of like creating this map that like automatically updates and heals itself, right? Like, and that's possible if you have a bunch of sensors, you know, walking through that 3D space. So just like Tesla is able to update their map because they've got their entire fleet of cars, you know, driving around all day, or Uber in a different way with like, you know, traffic indications and drop off points and so forth. You could do something similar with these sort of like complex indoor spaces. It also makes sense that Meta's thinking about indoor because that's probably the place where the next iteration of these Ray-Ban glasses will perform better, because those sort of like true optical systems actually don't work really well in bright outdoor lighting, right? And nobody's going to walk around with a Quest Pro, at least not most people. So the indoor focus makes sense, and a really cool collaboration seems they got going on with CMU.
NavCog gives me the freedom to go where I need to go.
You have arrived.
It really helps me regain my independence.
That's cool.
All right, so this is a great example of how, when you're building these systems that are oriented around people and how we experience the world, it opens up all of these new avenues to help us do more.
People, places, they got to talk about things.
Because it turns out that the things that you need to do to model reality, like being able to sense the world around you and understand the context for how it all fits together, that's the same thing that you need to augment human capabilities too.
Macular degeneration runs in my family, so I may actually be using the fruits of this research myself one day. Helping the hearing impaired is also on the horizon, and that's another thing that runs in my family. I didn't set out to build glasses for my future self, but it does seem to be working out that way. There's so much more that the interface of the future will bring us.
Oh, Michael.
Like the ability to right-click on a real object to find out information about it, control our devices without looking down, and get proactive assistance from a personalized digital assistant.
Right-click on an object, right-click properties. Can I see right-click view source code and see a glitch in the matrix?
We will one day be using this interface to do everything we do now, but more easily, plus a ton of things we haven't even thought of that we'll consider indispensable.
Yeah, so one example is being able to build and manipulate complex 3D objects. And this is central to the metaverse, but it's hard to build 3D objects from scratch. It's much quicker and easier to just use physical objects as templates.
Today, there's no easy way to do that. So we're
Really? There's so many 3D scanning apps out there. Come on.
Researching two different technologies to solve that problem. The first one uses machine learning-based neural radiance fields to reconstruct the appearance of a 3D object.
Go check out my NeRF videos. Got a bunch of videos out there. All of this innovation is happening in the open. You've got NVIDIA, you've got Google, you got Meta. All these companies are investing in NeRF neural radiance fields. And it's amazing. It's like the step change that builds on top of the foundations of photogrammetry and really lets you create experiences that capture reality in a far more immersive way. It's not just about like measuring stuff in the world. You really can capture the aesthetic, material properties, and the vibe of a space and place.
Object from multiple 2D images taken at different angles. This method can reproduce even the finest details of an object.
All right,
This is true.
So we're gonna scan Teddy, not just because he's super cute, but also because he's got the right dimensions and level of detail for what we're trying to replicate. So here's how it works. So we just scan him on the phone, and that's about it. Right now, this takes some processing time, so we got it ready beforehand so we could check it out.
Makes sense. Let's see what their experience actually looks
Oh,
like.
wow.
Okay, nice.
The level of detail in this is impressive. You can kind
You can definitely see
all these fine elements of it, like each.
And it's got that nice hazy quality that NeRF does when they collapse the volume and clip and crop the volume.
Individual strand of its hair. And you can even see through the semi-transparent bow tie that he has on.
I hope they do
Pretty
relighting.
awesome.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful reproduction. The second technology captures geometry and appearance directly.
Okay, so that's maybe more classical photogrammetry. And like you could do this with Apple's, photogrammetry API, which they announced last year as well. And it's built into apps like Polycam, or you can use something like Reality Capture, Agisoft Metashape. There's a bunch of different apps out there. And in this case, you're essentially creating the geometric structure, right? Like SFM point clouds, do some multi-view stereo, get some depth maps, maybe throw some ML magic in there to clean things up. And then essentially you're going to create explicit geometry, triangles, points, meshes that you are then texturing with PBR textures, right? Because you want to be able to have a normal map to get that high frequency detail baked in, and other information about like the roughness and diffuse qualities and reflective qualities.
So here we used a.
But here you can't get that like fine-grained, feathery, kind of like there's certain types of subject matter that you cannot model this way. So you can see that this is very cherry-picked examples of things that will, work well as like explicit 3D models.
A different technique called inverse rendering to scan an object into its digital twin and then bring it into augmented and virtual reality. And it responds dynamically to the lighting in the VR environment. And when you throw it in the air against a wall, or if you bounce it off the ground, it's going to respond the same way that the physical object would.
I wonder if this is also just like a 3D model with like a lightweight neural net that's modeling all the view-dependent effects.
So we use Spark to put the virtual object next to the physical one here. They're almost identical.
Neither approach is real-time yet, and each has its limitations.
We've seen these demos before.
The goal is to let you quickly and easily make physical objects a part of your virtual world.
I love it. Kit bashing reality. You've got some cool stuff. You 3D scan it, bring it into the virtual world, create a Horizons experience out of a VR chat experience. Like, sky's the limit. Like, once reality capture becomes as ubiquitous and simple, easy to do as taking a photo or video today.
Of course, the most interesting virtual elements of all are other people.
So they did places, they did things, now they're doing people.
In the form of avatars. And as you mentioned earlier, avatars will come in a variety of styles, but one thing I know for sure is that avatars that are photorealistic representations of users would be the most powerful remote connection technology that has ever existed. They would create genuine social presence in the sense of making you feel at a gut level like you are literally with other people.
These are all the pieces of the holodeck, right? Like you can model places photorealistically. You've got interactive objects within them, and of course the missing piece is people. They gotta be believable. People design around this. Like you could have zombies, whatever, it's a zombie, I don't really care, or a robot. But when you talk about people, it's that uncanny valley that's super difficult to cross.
And would span personal distances in a way video conferencing can only dream of.
This is one.
I love how they're just crapping on video conferencing while partnering with Zoom.
The reason we believe the metaverse is going to be by far the most social.
I wonder if Zoom has an effort, like how they think about this VR thing. They're like, yeah, whatever. Let's just let them do their thing and plug into it.
Computing platform. It's fundamentally about people and about being with people. So we're going to be able to teleport anywhere and be with anyone, no matter how far apart we physically are. And I think that this is the ultimate goal of social technology. And you're right, one of the keys that will unlock this is avatars that truly represent us.
So, last year, we showed you early progress on full-body codec avatars.
Yep. Pretty convenient to have somebody who doesn't have a lot of hair in this scenario.
What sets codec avatars apart from other high-quality avatars that you might have seen is that they're fully drivable.
So this is pretty cool, right? It means like you've got this codec avatar that's like this parametric representation of you, like this distillation of you that you can then drive later, right? So if you are having this two-way conference, right, like, if you've seen a bunch of volumetric systems that have been demoed at like, VR conferences and so forth that, let's say, like duct tape together a bunch of Azure or Connect sensors or whatever, like the Intel RealSense sensors, whatever, like essentially you're still like, the compression technology is very bare bones, right? Like you're still streaming down like this textured atlas 3D mesh And now think about the bandwidth requirements of that. On the other hand, if you can take your avatar and distill it down into this 3D model that you're essentially puppeteering, that problem becomes a lot more tractable. And so you could do something with like the equivalent of an HD or 4K connection and have some really high fidelity interactions.
So that means that they're not limited to preset movements or expressions. This is an avatar that you can control live in real time with no need to render or export video. So it can photorealistically reproduce individual people rather than just generic characters that artists designed.
Of course, securing your avatar will be critical. We're already thinking about
Okay, finally,
things like encryption
somebody with some
and tying
hair.
your avatar to an authenticated account. But beyond
A little boxy. The hair is a little boxy, gotta say. You're not getting exactly all the nuances, but hey,
we've continued
that's pretty
to
cool.
develop this technology. For example,
Okay, that's
it's
kind
now
of cool.
possible to change your virtual outfit whenever you want. Cool as that is, it's the face, expression.
I wonder if that was actually real or if that was just like 3 different takes in their light stage that they like cut together.
Eye contact, slight motions that is most quintessentially human. We're putting a lot of research into making the faces of our codec avatars truer to our physical form.
So actually, very recently, Bruce Willis is one of the first actors out there that is allowing himself to be digitally immortalized and then drivable in the future, right? Like you can imagine Die Hard 15 in the future.
Mark, do you want to show us the latest in codec faces?
Yeah, definitely. Last year during our visit to the lab in Redmond, I saw the second generation.
So this is cool, right? Like, so this is the like CV1 headset where they've got these custom sensors to be able to capture like, video feed of the lower part of your face. And then of course they've got some cameras inside the headset too. Now they've got this like Quest Pro that's got all of that baked in, right? So like, I'm interested to see how quickly these codec avatars roll out, because the hardest part in my opinion of all of this is just how you think about all the abuse vectors, right? Like if somebody can get a hold of your avatar and scrape it and then drive it, that could be just a nightmare, especially when they're this photorealistic.
Of our codec avatars. So these second generation avatars are pretty amazing, right? They're much closer to how you might want to show up in a setting like a work meeting. So I made one of myself.
Like a portrait photo.
Now,
Zuck.
a lot more expressive. And not just.
That's actually pretty good. It looks like a very nice, high quality portrait photo.
Simple things like looking left, right, up, down, but also the nonverbal cues that we rely on to.
The eyes are still a little more soulless than is like a real rendition, but it's way better. Honestly, it's like at par with some of these like Hollywood style digital doubles that you see.
Communicate with each other and understand tone. Things like raising an eyebrow, squinting, widening my eyes, or scrunching my nose. These avatars are way better at capturing those subtleties that define physical interactions. They're just much more natural. And being able to control the lighting on the avatars adds another dimension of life to them. When we move the light around,
the subsurface scattering, the pores on the skin, like all this stuff that Paul Debevic has been doing forever, sort of been scrounged down into this like avatar that you can drive in real time. Because if you think about like this same effort for like what a movie production goes through with some of the systems that they've got, you got to go do this light stage capture, then do performance capture with various expressions, and then ML plus artistry weaves that together. I think this stuff is still going to be pretty hard to deploy. So I'm curious what they say about rollout.
You can see how it interacts with my hair, it reflects on my skin, and you can even see it in my eyes. Now, these are awesome, but they also take a really long time to generate. So we're working on something that's a lot quicker for people to use.
Okay.
And we've made a lot of progress on something that's a lot quicker for people to
This is exactly what he's talking about. This takes a lot of effort to create a photorealistic avatar like this.
use.
So let's see.
And we've made a lot of progress with what we call instant avatars. So here's Autumn from our RL Labs team doing a demo of the process to show exactly what goes into this.
These are much quicker and easier to make. All you need for the scan is your phone, and you can pretty much do this anywhere with reasonable lighting. She scans her face from different angles with a neutral expression for about 30 seconds, then spends another minute and a half making a variety of expressions. And that's really all there is to it.
Hi guys, my 3D avatar is ready for use in my phone or VR. It just took a few hours to generate after my scan, and the team's working on making that processing a whole lot faster.
So I bet what they're doing is they're collecting this like boatload of data with like whatever light stage setup that they've got over in Redmond, right? Like in Washington. And so that gives you like this immaculate ground truth. But then you can also like correspondingly record mobile data in addition to that really high quality ground truth, and then create this sort of mapping between a lower fidelity scan and be able to still create something that is of that like light stage quality. Pretty cool stuff.
Now, obviously, this isn't the same quality as you just saw with the...
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you notice, they're leaning into full diffuse self-illuminating lighting. They're not showing any of the relightability, right? Because you're not going to get that information. But again, like I said earlier, like Facebook already has a bunch of photos of you in different lighting conditions, Instagram photos, stories of you. It's not a stretch for me to imagine that you could have this like lightweight scanning phase that like maybe focuses on the geometric structure and nuances of your expression and phases. And then things like material properties can be inferred by training an ML model off of all the other images of you in the wild in a wide range of like lighting conditions. There's a bunch of neural radiance field papers out there that do this, right? Like a canonical problem in the computer vision research place has been you've got a bunch of these like Yahoo Flickr photos of like popular monuments taken at different times of day, different seasons, so forth, that are able to create these like neural radiance field representations that essentially like model appearance, allowing you to change the appearance over time, right? Like same thing could be applied to people as well.
The 2.0 codec avatars. However, they're still pretty expressive and realistic.
The eyes aren't bad
We're
at
putting
all.
a whole lot of effort into developing these so anyone can easily create their own high-quality, realistic avatar for themselves.
This is like deepfakes on steroids. I'm kind of worried about this. Oh my God. Like,
all right, thanks, Autumn. Now,
but
this
it is
some
cool.
of the most inspiring stuff that I feel like we get to work on. So it's great that we're at the stage now where the research foundations that we've laid over the past years are really starting to show up in real products.
For sure. There's still plenty left to
For
do.
sure.
And everything we've just talked about is still research.
Yeah.
It may or may not end up in our products, but it's definitely a glimpse of where technology is headed. Thanks, Mark.
This is where all this stuff is going. Absolutely.
All right, so that just about wraps Connect 2022. Last year, we laid out our vision for the future. And this year, we're taking another big step on the path to get there. What we shared today is the first move towards the 200 million people who get new PCs every year, one day working.
Sorry, I get distracted very easily. What the hell is that? Is that like a multi-camera system with some lighting in the back?
Step on the path to get there. What we shared today is the first move towards the 200 million people who get new PCs every year, one day working in the metaverse. We're still early in this journey. The products that we showed today are a part of a roadmap that extends far into the future. Quest for consumers.
It's a really good strategy, right? Like desktop sales definitely like and laptop sales went up during lockdown. And honestly, like computers aren't going anywhere. Yes, your mobile device is the thing that you take with you everywhere. Those things will get powerful enough. Maybe you can start tethering those to a headset at some point when you've got more compute or a split compute type approach, right? Like Apple could really nail this, right? Like if you got an iPhone that has a really beefy chip or an iPad with an M2, then your headset has an M2, like some really cool stuff can start happening. And it seems like Meta's trying to do exactly that type of approach, you know, with the existing Wintel ecosystem or, you know, Windows ecosystem on top of Intel and AMD architecture.
Quest Pro for work and people who want the best VR experience that we can build today. And
I
Rayban
would like the
stories
best
for
VR
smart
experience.
glasses.
The smart glasses thing is the weakest thing to me. I think it makes sense. But again, the form factor they nailed, like, again, I got these glasses a year ago whenever they came out, and I basically just use them as sunglasses. I've barely charged them just because the photos weren't compelling. I wish we could do... Again, I'm a very niche audience. I'm a nerd who likes 3D scanning stuff. Go see my Sketchfab page and my YouTube videos about this stuff. Like, if I could get continuous video recording, even for like a couple minutes, that would be a game changer for those headsets. Other than that, like vignettes, moments, like this is just like Snap glasses all over again.
And there are going to be more releases in each of these lines in the years to come, as well as whole new categories of products built for augmented reality and neural interfaces. This is an exciting time to be working on the metaverse. We're investing in this because we believe that there's massive potential here, and we want to bring the best engineers, developers, artists, and like-minded partners together to help build this future. We're at the beginning of a new era in computing. Major shifts like this don't come around that often, but we're starting to see.
I couldn't agree with this more, right? Like, I remember in 2014, the first time I saw the DK1, and then the DK2 happened actually, DK1 was 2013, then DK2 in 2014, and then you finally had the CV1 come out, then you had like the Vive come out, all these things, like things are moving so fast, and you got ARKit and AR Core come out. Like, we are absolutely at the precipice of something so foundationally transformational, and the rate at which these things are happening is just accelerating. Like, I was so invested into photogrammetry just a couple years ago, and then, you know, I even had a chance to work on some of the early like deep learning based light field efforts with a lot of limitations and constraints. And just in the last 2 years, like the adoption of neural radiance fields, like Meta's doing a bunch of cool stuff with it now too, NVIDIA's doing a bunch of cool stuff with it now, and on and on and on and on it goes.
Now, and it's going to shape how people connect for decades to come. I want to discuss two values that we believe in deeply that you can expect us to bring to this work. The first is putting people.
So this is Zuck is addressing the elephant in the room, shall we say?
At the center of everything we build.
Okay. People-centered design. That ain't novel. That ain't new, but that's cool. Thank you. Don't put ad revenue at the center, I guess is what he's saying.
I believe that the next computing platform has the potential to be more social and more human than anything that's come before, if we build it correctly. That's why so much of what we've shown today is about improving how we connect and interact, building out Horizon as social infrastructure for the metaverse, prioritizing hardware that supports facial expressions and eye contact, creating new ways for people to meet and collaborate at work, designing new avatars and photorealistic avatars. These are things that you prioritize if you're focused on helping people connect. So while the underlying technology is pretty inspiring by itself, the reason that we're in this is because it can bring you closer to other people. This is our company's DNA. It's in every service we build. Your friends on Facebook, your followers on Instagram, your family on WhatsApp. It's always about people. And that's how we hope to build the metaverse too. The second value is openness. In every generation of computing, there's been an open ecosystem and a closed ecosystem. There was Windows and Mac, then Android and iOS. Closed ecosystems focus on tight control and integration to create unique experiences and lock-in.
And provide quality.
Although most of that value ends up flowing to the platform over time. Open ecosystems create value and grow through many companies working together, developers having lots of choices, and ultimately more people sharing in the upside of what is created. An interesting thing about the history of computing is that different models have won out in different periods. It's not predetermined which will be the primary one this time around. But as someone who has experience building under both models, I strongly believe that an open, interoperable metaverse built by many different developers and companies is going to be better for everyone. As you can see,
that makes a ton of sense to me, because the equivalent analogy that comes to mind is like, we are the internet company. We are building the internet. Nobody can lay claim on the internet, right? Like, absolutely, the metaverse is going to be tackled by a range of different companies, right? Like NVIDIA is building the creator metaverse, right? Microsoft is building the enterprise metaverse. Epic is building the gaming metaverse. Obviously, Meta is tackling this from a social perspective. And so every single major company, you know, is coming at this problem space based on the unique building blocks at their disposal and paying particular attention to the audiences and the customers that they serve today. And obviously, it's social for Zuck. And I think like building these and connecting these pieces together, that's where the magic is going to happen. And so like, I don't even think like this is going to be open or closed. It's going to be a hybrid model, right? Like that is always what ends up happening.
Today, from all of the different partners that we're working with, I see our role as not just helping to build this open ecosystem, but making sure that the open ecosystem wins out in this next generation of the internet.
And I gotta say, like, Facebook has made some good reversals in this space, right? Like I alluded to the Quest initially and the Oculus headsets being locked into their own app store, opening that up and allowing it to be used by other app stores was really cool. It feels less like iOS and more like an Android-esque model to me, right? Like where you can have a bunch of OEMs building cool stuff. Oh, you want to have your custom app store? Go deploy it. It doesn't matter. Like, optionality is what makes this stuff great, but it's also strategic for them. Let's be honest about that, right? Because if you have this loss leader, super cheap headset that everyone can buy, it works with Steam VR, that's the headset you're gonna get. And so he's seeding the install base essentially for this entire industry. It'll be interesting to see how he does on the promise of monetization for creators. They alluded to this sort of asset store where you can start buying different types of assets from brands and individual creators, you know, like skins essentially, and have those work in like essentially the Meta suite of applications or anyone who uses their SDK. I want to see how that pans out and what that actually means in monetary terms, right? Like, yes, you've got developers that are making a couple million, but what does that mean at scale? I would guess that right now the value is going to nobody because like, really, it's the early stages of this industry, and like Facebook is just burning money seeding this initial, you know, like foundational platform for immersive computing so that people can build on top of that. But I like what he's saying about open. All I'm saying is I want to see what it actually means in terms of money made for creators. Like, are they going to be able to replicate a model like YouTube? Like, even if you compare YouTube and TikTok, right? Like TikTok is not giving creators any money at the moment, right? YouTube is probably the only game in video, at least out there, that actually gives a meaningful cut to creators. Even Instagram has failed to do that. So if they can't do it on Instagram, will they be able to do it in this 3D world? That's the question I'm asking myself.
Philosophically, we've always been about building in the open. We'd rather show the progress we're making and talk about the challenges we're still working through. We don't have all the answers because some of them just don't exist.
Build fast and break things.
We're all on this journey together. So if you care about technology and how it can help us connect, if you want to help build a world where we can all experience things that haven't been possible before, if you believe in a future where we can all do more and be more present, then I hope that you're just as excited as I am. So thank you for being a part of this journey, and we'll see you again soon.
Hell yeah. All right. Okay. That was pretty freaking cool. All things considered, they did a really, really good job. Just to wrap things up, I'll say, Meta, what an awesome job of essentially like holding the fort down and seeding the entire VR ecosystem. You've done a phenomenal job. I'm excited to see where all of this stuff goes. And if you like this longer form video, this is my first reaction video of its kind. If you enjoyed this, please leave a comment or a like below and tell me what would you like to see the next stream on. Billy FX signing off. It's been real, y'all. I hope y'all have a great rest of your evening or day ahead.